while choosing to advocate for animals, you chose to target who? Someone talking for Dalits. You couldn't target people from your own community. You couldn't target, Sanatani people who are vegetarian.
Vegans target non-vegans. You happen to be a non-vegan, Lakshya.
Let us start by talking about human oppression first. And once we feel that, okay, you guys are also with us in these issues, we'll take you more seriously.
Lakshya has chosen to exploit animals at least 3 times a day. And however, he's consistently speaking out against different parts of human oppression. And this vegan, however, is not speaking about human rights issue, is not harming humans, not exploiting animals, and is condemning animal exploitation. Who is the problem here?
For vegan Arvind, animal suffering is more important than the suffering of children in Gaza.
So Lakshya, are you telling me the suffering of human children in Gaza is more important than the suffering of chickens and fish and pigs and cows? Helping is optional. Not hurting is obligatory.
Animal suffering is bad. Personally, what I do is different, but I should advocate that it should be minimized.
That would be the equivalent of me right now speaking on behalf of women's rights or some other social justice and then going back home and misbehaving my wife.
This debate is not about what I do in my personal life.
Because I'm trying to make you take accountability for your actions. I hope you don't take this as an attack on you.
$1 million, you'd put all of it into animal rights and not say a Gaza or say a Dalit community or say women or say anything.
Yes, you are right. I am not the crazy one here. The crazy one are the people who go around exploiting animals but not exploiting humans and then expect those who are neither exploiting humans nor animals to speak up for humans. Those are the crazy ones. I am not crazy for taking a stance where I'll help only animals, Lakshya. I am not crazy.
In that minority religion, if there's an oppressor caste, I stand with the lower caste. And in that lower caste, if there's an employee who is oppressing his worker, I stand with the worker. And if that worker goes home and oppresses his wife, I stand with that wife.
So when the woman goes ahead and abuses these animals, whom do you stand for?
Interested in going vegan? Watch Arvind's full guide to being vegan in India.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Face to Face with Arvind. And in today's episode, our guest is Mr. Lakhshya from Lakhshya Speaks. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, to be honest, really excited, really honored to actually have you on here. I did not think I'd actually be able to get you on. For those who do not know you, which may not be many, because I think you're quite notorious. The way to describe you is you're notorious. So just some stuff about yourself.
So I'm Lakshya. My background, I'm actually an IIM grad in finance. Worked 3 years in corporate. And then I was a political consultant with a political party. And then one day I thought, you know what, I should talk about these issues online because I don't see a lot of young people talking about political issues online. And I started talking about them. Primarily, I'm known as an anti-caste activist, but my ideology is intersectional. I believe all the issues are in some way interlinked. If you care about caste, you also care about religious communalism. You also care about women's issues. All these things work very together. So I identify as an intersectional activist. I talk about multiple issues. And I believe all these issues, they kind of are linked and work together.
Yeah, well, wow, I did not know that about your background. So the reason why I wanted to get you on my show here today is obviously to discuss about veganism and animal rights. And obviously you yourself being an activist, and I also call myself as an activist, an animal rights activist. I wanted to speak to you because after seeing your videos, I find you to be, from what I can see, a rational person. Someone who does not just go merely on emotions, someone who does not merely go on faith, but rather goes on principles, values, and facts. Am I right to make those statements? Yeah. So I felt that veganism is something maybe you have not considered before, maybe you've had previously certain opinions towards it, be it positive or negative, or maybe. But I wanted to bring Lakshya on over to my side. And I believe I have points and arguments in favor of animal rights to convince you through reasoning as to why veganism is not some kind of a dietary choice or some kind of an option people choose, but rather we call it as a moral obligation. So yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to get you on, to get your opinion, your perspective, because you obviously bring forth majorly your videos, I said, majorly focus on caste issues. Yeah, majorly, yeah. So yeah, that's basically the reason why I want to get you on. Do you have, what are your opinions about veganism? I just want to know,
veganism, at least in India, the people I have interacted with, typically come from a certain background. Typically come from well-educated, certainly upper caste, upper class. And these people, what I find is, say someone coming from a Dalit community or a Muslim community, we have issues which are of our immediate because we see people from our own community being excluded, Muslims, people from their own community being lynched, like a genocide going on in Gaza, the way if you're a Dalit, your merit is questioned. You don't see people from the Dalit community around you in media as well, even in social media, how many Dalit activists are even there, right? So we have very immediate issues. And when we see, certain people from very privileged backgrounds, they seem to care more about, say, animals and all. I'm not saying that's wrong, but what I'm saying is your interests, it kind of seems misplaced. Your priorities seem misplaced. Okay, I'll start off by quoting Periyar Ramaswamy, someone from Tamil Nadu.
Yep.
He said, if a larger country oppresses a smaller country, I stand with the smaller country. And in that smaller country, if there's a majority religion which oppresses the minority religion, I stand with the minority religion. In that minority religion, if there's an oppressor caste which oppresses a lower caste, I stand with the lower caste. And in that lower caste, if there's a employee who is oppressing his worker, I stand with the worker. And if that worker goes home and oppresses his wife, I stand with that wife. Overall, oppression is my enemy. Now, the thing with vegans is that I get it. What is happening to animals is absolutely wrong. The capitalist, industrialized slaughtering of animals, it is wrong. I'm not contesting that.
I'm allowed,
but what I want to say is that when we, for example, in talking about countries, right, whatever is happening in Gaza, Palestine, like an open genocide, Holocaust, I don't see the vegans making, coming with us and advocating for the same. I don't see the vegan voices saying, what, the genocide is bad. Same talking about the caste issue. Caste issue, we are saying, Dalits, everyday lynchings, honor killings. And I don't see the vegans coming and, at least being there and saying, okay, we also say this is wrong. Same with the feminist issues. India, every 6 minutes, one rape happens. Every day, multiple gang rapes happen. I don't see vegans, sharing the feminist posts or being with us. So I don't see you, condemning a Holocaust. I don't see you condemning caste issues. I don't see you talking for feminist issues. You don't talk about these other big issues, but then you expect us to take you guys seriously and be like, okay, animal rights, we also talk. That kind of feels like, okay, if you guys are against oppression, let us start by talking about human oppression first. And once we feel that, okay, you guys are also with us in these issues, we'll take you more seriously. But right now, what I'm seeing is that most of the time, it's probably the only issues I see vegans also talk about is probably environmentalism. And then even recently, the dogs thing happened in Delhi. That vegans were very loud about. But when it's humans, I don't see you guys talking. So that is what makes a lot of people from our community a bit skeptical. Okay, who are these people? Like, why do they not? They don't care about human issues, but they talk a lot about animal issues. That is where we have
you come from. Okay, fair enough. So I've made a note of quite a few things you've said right now. I just want to go them in order if I can. The first is the quote you made by Periyar. So yes, I obviously being from Tamil Nadu, I know that quote. Now, by that extension of that quote, you said in the end, if there is a worker who's being oppressed by his boss, you will stand with the worker. If the worker then goes home and abuses his wife, you stand with the abused wife. Now, in the ladder of social hierarchy, if you can call it that, do you agree that cows, chickens, pigs, fish, goats, duck, and sheep are rung below the woman on that hierarchy? So when the woman goes ahead and abuses these animals, whom do you stand for?
Technically, I'm against animal cruelty. Animals shouldn't be harmed. But if I had to say, I would obviously prioritize human life over animal life.
That's different. I agree. We come to that prioritization later.
Yeah.
But my question was, when you first drew that social hierarchy, that entire ladder, I agree with you on everything you said because that's just plain logic. It just makes sense. But my point is, you went till the woman, right? And you showed, let's say, for example, if the woman now abuses a child, you'll stand with the child. Because who is the oppressor and who is the oppressed? Now, let's say the woman is in this society given the right to pay others money to exploit, torture, mutilate, and murder others who happen to not be human. Who is now at the bottom of the barrel is my question then.
I absolutely agree with you. Whatever is happening with animals, especially in this...
That's not my question. Who is at the bottom of the barrel? Are animals at the bottom of the barrel is my question on the social hierarchy?
In a way, yes.
In what other ways can we look things at? Like if you were to ask me, if suppose I'm saying to you, no, Lakhshya, I'm sorry, but this group, even though they are oppressing this group, it's only in a way they're oppressing them. Is that the right way to put it forward?
The way is, say for instance, if you look at vegetarianism and veganism in India, how historically it has been. So in India, the way we understand vegetarians, see, all over the world, you'll find vegans and vegetarians, but in India is the only country where you'll find pure vegetarians. Because here, vegetarianism is not about animal rights. It's more about, I am better than you, I am moral than you, I am purer than you, I'm closer to God than you.
And I agree with you. Go on.
And typically what happens is the certain caste communities who have monopolized this, and in a way they have tried to show themselves superior. I'm closer to God because I'm vegetarian. You guys kill, you guys, your Dalits and all. And now we have to understand historically, certain communities, for a lot of Dalit communities, they eat beef also. A lot of Dalit communities in Maharashtra only, they even eat rats. There are historical and cultural reasons for that because they have been excluded to that point, right? Now, the thing is, even to this day, even in a lot of vegan spaces, the kind of vibe we get is that, it's still that shaming. Okay,
I get it, but I feel like for some reason, if I may be so as blunt as to say, like, you are not necessarily answering that one particular question I'm asking. If we were to draw a ladder of social hierarchy that's happening, and Lakhshya made sure that he always stood by the oppressed. He did not say anything else but saying, I stand with, just like how Periyar said, if someone is being oppressed, screw the oppressor. I stand with the oppressed. If whoever, I believe the quote is like this: if I don't stand with the bully, I stand with the one being bullied. Is it wrong of me to say that even the human who's at the lowest rung of that ladder is a bully towards animals if they are not vegan? The situation may not permit them to become vegan. I completely understand. I'm not going to acknowledge the fact that I come from a privileged background, the background that you said there are pure vegetarians. Open, I come from a Tamil Brahmin background. You can tell by looking at my name, Arvind Sundar. What the hell am I, obviously? So we'll obviously come to all of that and we can speak about everything openly. But my first main thing I want to just establish, Lakshya, if I can, is would you agree that in this hierarchy, animals are at literally the bottom of the barrel? In fact, they've been victimized so badly, they're not even considered victims. And when I ask Lakhshya, the man who speaks up for social justice, to even just accept that they are at the bottom of the barrel, you are not necessarily saying that you are...
I agree with that.
You agree? You agree?
I agree with that assessment.
So then, going by your Periyar quote, which I also 100% agree with, I believe that these individuals are at the lowest. So when there is someone who is from a marginalized community, and I recognize the fact that they do not necessarily eat meat, dairy, and eggs because they think it tastes good. They're literally surviving. They're literally trying to pull through to see the next day. Unlike me, who's comfortable, who goes home and opens the fridge and has different options, they don't have that. So I obviously look at them through a slightly different lens when I look at someone who's from a privileged background but still chooses to eat meat, dairy, and eggs. There's a complete... I'm not stupid. I know how to.
So one more thing, if you see recently the news, in their midday meal for children, most people going to government schools are very poor background, right? And their malnutrition rate in India is really high.
Yes.
They used to give eggs in the midday meal. Now they removed that also because, eggs is non-vegetarian. You should not give that. Even in Tihar jail in India, you have vegetarian food. And it's not because of animal right reasons, right?
Right.
So the vegetarianism in India is tainted with
and I'm completely agreeing with you. And every time I have seen your videos and you condemn any group which does things like that, I am on your side because you stand for justice. You are not speaking bullshit and you are speaking for the oppressed. So I am with you on that. I'm not going to deny the facts you speak.
If you are with me and if you are with, say, certain viewpoints I hold, or your community, vegans as such, then why don't you comment that I agree or probably share it or something like that? That's how we get a signal that you guys agree. For example, we post something.
But you already mentioned that the fact that we are not helping over there. I've noted that. I will come to that. But the first, the Periyar quote, so then we do agree right now that the biggest victims, most marginalized group of individuals in society are animals.
I wouldn't call them individuals, I would say. They are creatures, but I wouldn't call them individual as in human being.
Of course, they're not human. I understand that. But you would not see them as individuals?
I mean, I think it's definitional difference of what an individual is.
I think it's more of a perceptional difference, Lakhshya, if I may say. Because if I were having a misogynistic mindset or a racist mindset, and if I were supposedly say a white person living in America 300 years ago, I would not look at people who were put into slavery and say they are individuals. I would say they are just things, just objects, just commodities.
I'll tell you a difference. For example, in Gaza, genocide happened. Thousands of children were dying.
I can see.
What I feel is that, they are also like me. They also had dreams. They also had goals in life. They could also be doctors, engineers. They are people with a voice.
Right.
And they are being exterminated like animals.
You are right.
Now. Yeah.
You notice you said like animals.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with
the fact that when humans are being oppressed and killed in the worst way possible, we compare that by saying like animals, which shows us, which is why I'm asking you, literally the most abused, the most oppressed, most vulnerable group of individuals in our society right now are not human beings. They are cows, chickens, pigs, fish, goats, ducks, and sheep. Because when humans are being treated that way, you literally said right now, Lakhshya.
Yeah, I get that.
So would you agree that they are the most vulnerable? Would you agree that?
Yeah, in a sense, they are. I mean, they are the ones being genocided.
If you say in a sense, what sense are you talking from, if I may ask you?
I mean, their lives literally don't matter in a way.
Thank you for being honest. Yes, you're right. Their lives don't matter. They are literally...
for most humans, when we do our analysis, that's not something we have as a criteria, basically.
Exactly. And we vegans, if I can put it in these terms, are willing to open up our circle of compassion towards those individuals who are not human. That's the whole point. Okay, fine. Next, you had mentioned one statement when you spoke saying that the capitalistic way in which right now we are slaughtering animals for food is wrong. May I understand why you made that statement?
Say, for instance, indigenous communities, the Adivasis, Adivasi communities, if you go to the northeast and even in the Gondwana belt and all, they have been living in the forest and the agency areas for millennia, and they do consume animals, right? But that hasn't led to like extermination of animals, or the mass scale. See, for example, nowadays how animal farming is done. The chickens, they're bred for the purpose of being slaughtered. They're put injected with hormones and drugs so they grow in abnormal sizes. And this is basically artificial manipulation of these beings for our comfort. But these indigenous communities who have lived in nature, they have lived in a sort of a syncretic relationship, symbiotic kind of relationship, where obviously they are taking what they need from nature, and also not quite exploiting it. They have lived in that way. And obviously, if they consume a deer or they consume some animal in the forest, that is much different than the way, for example, animal slaughters happen in this today's.
Of course, it's different. I'm with you on that. I agree.
Here now, we just specifically breed those animals for that purpose, and that animal, it has no other purpose than eating, and growing. Right? That in many ways is inhuman. The way in the industrialized world we treat animals.
Okay, I just want to, if I could just quickly comment on that. How we people from animal rights, and I understand that when I speak about certain things to you, you might think like, no, but I want to go to this topic. I'll just tell you one thing, bro. We started right now, right? I've booked this room for 4 hours. Okay. I'll be here for as long as you want. If it goes till 5, I'll pay them some more money and we'll be here. Okay? By all means, please know that you are allowed to express yourself, your point of view, any way you want. And we can discuss about everything. I will never run from a question.
Okay,
so please, so if you have anything, note it down like I do, and we can talk. It's just about discussing. So when you made the statement right now saying that they live probably like one with nature, and that's different from how we exploit animals here. Of course, from an objective perspective, you are right in describing it that way. But how we vegans look at it is from the individual's perspective. That is, if there is, say, a chicken or an animal that is not bred, like they have, like, say, a backyard farm, quote unquote, but they have a huge field. The animals just live there. They mate among themselves. Few are born. Whenever they can, they slaughter the animal. They eat the animal, as opposed to then breeding them in the billions, how we do in factory farms. But regardless, we are saying animal A who exists in the backyard farm is an individual. Animal B who exists in the factory farm is an individual. Regardless of whether our actions cause environmental pollution or is done on a mass scale, is irrespective of how we do it. The individual there does not want to be exploited, commodified, or in the end consumed. We are thinking of it from the victim's perspective, because someone could, in a way, you can say, yes, humans killing animals that way is natural, but humans killing humans is also natural.
See, morality and natural, I think, are separate things. For example, for a tribal person being born in some, say, rural village Odisha, and their community, they're known to say, I know communities which eat worms also. They're doing that, eating ants or whatever. In a philosophical way, are they immoral to kill animals? You can argue that.
Yeah,
but I'm no one to go and tell them, look, this is bad, don't do this, right?
I believe if there is an option for them to choose, otherwise I can say that.
Sure, if you're living in this utopian world where you can provide them all the nutritional needs they want without the harm, then perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Without giving them an alternative, I cannot condemn that.
So
I can't.
Even today, if tomorrow, we had some technology which can have lab-produced meat with full protein without any animal harm, I think people would stop. You can convince most people to stop eating meat. I don't think that's an issue. I'm not contesting I'm not ever saying that, you know what, you should kill animals. It is like the right thing to do. I'm not a religious person to say that, you know what, animal lives don't matter or something. Right. I'm not making that argument. What I'm saying is that we live in a world and reality is very context dependent.
Correct. It is.
And then who you choose to target that activism.
Absolutely.
Also,
absolutely. Agreed.
Because what I see in a lot of our spaces is that vegans, they come, whenever we engage with vegans, it's mostly a lot of shaming. Moral shaming. Or you are like this. Like I got called a rapist because I promoted whey protein, which is a dairy product. I mean, I was paid for it. It was a brand collaboration. Regardless, I got called a rapist. Look, rape is like a very, very bad act.
Yeah.
But you cannot compare someone consuming milk product and call them a rapist. That just creates enmity between the communities, right?
I completely am with you, and there is a reason why that happened, and I can be in complete honesty and open with you. I used to be one of those vegans. I used to be like that. Like, I'm a vegan now for 11 years. In the beginning, you won't believe this. One video has gone viral on the internet. At work, some 10 years ago, I called a lady at work Hitler because she was eating meat. I mean, we were arguing. Now, obviously, later I apologized. I nearly got kicked out of my office. But the point is, I'll tell you from where we come from. And you might agree, you might disagree, but we come from a perspective where we have gone ahead to actually witness the atrocities and the violence happening. Just like how you can witness certain human atrocities happening and you will want to say to people, hey guys, look at this, what's happening. They're like, you know what, Lakshya, a bit too uncomfortable, we don't want to see. They do that, right? Similar to, however, we did not turn a blind eye to the animal cruelty. We've actually gone in person to the slaughterhouses, literally had blood splatter on our face. We've literally seen someone shoving a glass piece into a cow's anus. So after seeing this, you have to realize, for a lack of better word, this is That it's from that violence, along with the fact that people don't want to see, we see with rage. And I'm not going to justify doing that in my past. Okay, I'm not justifying it at all. But I just want to let you know that's where we come from. That's the reason. We're human beings too.
When I was, I think, 7 years old or something, in our village, we do that, the goat, you cut it near the Devi Devta thing, the animal slaughter. I saw that happen live. There was some puja and they cut it. It was traumatizing. Couldn't, forget meat. I couldn't eat food for 2 days. It was that bad. I got nightmares and shit. So I'm not denying anything. The way we treat animals in our society is horrific. I'm not, that is not an area of dispute between us, is what I'm telling you.
Okay, fine.
My primary argumentation is not with the moral philosophy of veganism, but the way the movement manifests itself in India.
Okay.
Where I see mostly people from a certain caste community advocate for it, and I don't see them advocate for other issues.
You are right on that.
It makes it difficult for us to take you guys seriously.
Right. No. Your observation is correct. Factually, you are correct on that. I'm not going to, again, just like how you don't dispute certain things, I say I'm not disputing certain things. They're just facts what you're saying right now. So, okay, we just talk about this. So, about the capitalistic thing you mentioned, would you agree if I made the statement, regardless of in which method we raise an animal and which method we choose to slaughter an animal, that individual animal did not want to be born into this world for the sole purpose of being exploited by human beings? Would that be a fair statement for me to make? Lakhshya?
Yeah, that animal, obviously. No living being on earth would want to die.
Yeah, then would you agree that the previous statement when you made regarding the Adivasis as opposed to factory farming would be an incorrect one, because you portrayed their form of exploitation as if it was benign or better?
No, I wouldn't say. See, the thing is, in nature, there are many instances where the animals hunt on humans, and then humans also hunt on them. Right. And the thing is, these people, that's their way of life for millennia. Even if you go back in history, hunter-gatherers, that's how it used to be. Sometimes the animals used to kill us, we used to kill them, and then agriculture was that big revolution back then, because we more or less,
were nomadic.
Yeah. Now we are settled and we don't have to kill and hunt and all that. We can grow food. That was a big revolutionary thing. So historically, the thing is, a man is a product of circumstance. If a tribal person born in that circumstance, it teaches them to live in such a way. I'm no one to put a moral judgment on that. If I had to
no, we're not putting a moral judgment on the tribal person.
But if you're telling this is wrong, I mean, we are in a way putting a moral judgment, right?
I am saying you painted a picture saying that kind of action is different from raising animals in this kind of action.
Yeah.
So I am saying that is simply not true, because whether the animal was, see, if I brought in front of you right now 2 knives, both were covered in blood. One was used to kill the animal who was raised by the Adivasis. One was used to kill an animal which was raised in the factory farm. Could you tell the difference which knife is which?
No, it's again.
No, what I'm saying, if it really is that, let's not try to say that one is more benign than the other. I should say, across the board, humans exploit. This is my statement. I'll be very honest. Across the board, I'm making a statement. Humans exploiting animals is wrong. Individuals who have the option and the ability to choose plant-based options should make that option. That is
fair. What I'm contesting is that animal breeding, the way the industrial capitalist world, they breed animals particularly for that animal hasn't seen joy in his entire life.
But even if they did see joy, I asked you if I kept 2 knives and both were bloody, you could not tell which knife came from which.
Okay, comparatively, say for example, you have a world where all the animals are born in animal forms and they are bred for that particular thing and they'll be killed. And there's no life, there's nothing. They're just kept in that inside the industry, inside the factory. Compared to a life, for example, we are all tribal people. They're animals born in nature. They live in nature, breed in nature, and occasionally we happen to hunt one, which is a better world comparatively.
If those are the 2 options in this dichotomy, obviously the latter option
that's what
is
I'm
better.
saying. See, these 2 things, killing an animal in itself, the act from a moral standpoint is okay. Why would you hurt or harm someone?
If you don't need to. If you don't need to.
Right? That I'm not disputing. But if I had to pick between these 2 worlds, this is 100 times more immoral than this.
No, I agree that may be more immoral. But I'm saying, note your statement. You said 100 times more immoral. Which means this is also immoral, is my point.
Yeah, if the person has the option but he still does that, probably you can make that.
No, I'm saying that it's like this. Say, for example, we find ourselves in a scenario where there is literally nothing we can do, where either I have to survive or you have to survive. Pathetic scenario. We'll have to fight. We wouldn't fight now, but we would fight then for our lives.
Desperate.
But regardless, what I'm saying is that murder, if suppose Lakhshya ends up beating me and killing me, murder did occur there. If Lakhshya ends up killing me even right now, murder occurred here as well. Yes, one of them comes out of necessity, one comes out of maybe just pure pleasure or psychopathy.
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm saying murder is murder.
Yeah, but when we wish to say, for example, you want to solve the animal question or you want to like minimize the harm happening, you start from here and not here, right?
Yeah, we're not starting there. I'm just saying that's why I give the knife example.
Yeah.
I'm saying murder is murder.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
Again. But
No,
it's a more circumstantial thing, right?
But even you said that this one is 100 times more cruel. If in the moment you say in English...
See, killing is cruel, there's no two ways about it. Killing is cruel, there's no two ways about it. Unless you're doing it for self-defense or something, that's a different story.
That's totally fine. Yeah, that's totally fine.
But I think...
No, but again, even going back to your statement, what you just said, when you make a statement in English, I used to be a teacher of language, and we had this comparative superlative thing. Like Arvind is taller than Lakshya.
Yeah.
The moment we say Arvind is taller than, it means that we are comparing height.
Yeah.
When you say that this action is 100 times more cruel than this, even you are alluding to the fact that this is cruel as well. The other one just happens to be more.
Any form of killing an animal is cruel. I'm not disputing that again, right?
No, but okay, fine. Maybe we can stop on it in this last regard. I disagree with you if you are alluding to the fact that happens to be for some reason, let's just say benign. It's not benign.
Benign as in
benign means something that does not harm, or something that like you painted a picture like it's natural. They've been doing that for millions of years, like thousands of years. It doesn't really matter, like that because that becomes an appeal to tradition fallacy, right?
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, if for them we can give them an alternative where they don't have to harm animals, then great. But considering these people don't have an alternative for that, we can make that philosophical judgment that it is cruel, it is.
I'm just saying on paper right now. As of now, on paper.
Philosophical sense, you can say that.
Yes, 100% philosophical, nothing else. Okay, fine, philosophically. Next is the major point you made, where you said that there are so many issues regarding human rights happening right now. And we as human rights activists are going out there and facing so much stuff in the front just to speak about this and help those humans. And I don't see you vegans anywhere here at all. But then you suddenly come to us and say, hey, look at this animal rights issue. Please do care about this. How do we take you seriously?
See, for example, the Gaza genocide happening, right? I can say, look, I'm an anti-caste activist. I don't want to talk about this, Gaza. I don't care. I can do that. But then we understand, look, their struggles, our struggles, in a way, very mirroring. So we do talk about those issues. Now, I can look at the feminists and say, oh, feminist woman, yaar, tum apna dekh lo. We are anti-caste. We don't care about it. But we don't do that. Even Dr. Ambedkar, even though he was primarily seen as an anti-caste figure, he resigned from the parliament because of the Hindu Code Bill. Hindu Code Bill is what gave women in India. Women in India did not have right for equal inheritance. They did not have the right to divorce and then remarry. These came after the constitution came. Women did not have those rights.
He's done incredible.
And he's not acknowledged for that, and he's seen as an anti-caste. He fought that caste battle. Along with that side, he never said, no, I'm ignoring this issue. No. You would be surprised to know women in India had the right to vote before countries like Portugal and I think it was Brazil or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So even though we were like a considered third world country,
we still
due to certain leaders, that vision, we reached to that point.
Awesome. Okay.
So these things, they work together.
Right.
You can condemn what is happening in Gaza. You can talk about feminist issues. If you can't talk, at least, whoever is posting about it, share their content, put it on a story, comment and say, I agree with you. And then they also feel emboldened that, okay, look, it's a shared struggle. They'll also be more empathetic towards you. Like, for example, that's how a lot of, say, for example, Muslim activists, because whatever they're facing in India right now, their nationalism is questioned. They're called anti-national terrorists also. For
people like Umar Khalid are in jail.
Even a normal Muslim also, if you change your name to a Muslim name and you use on internet one day, even if people disagree with your opinion, they'll just say, oh, you are the terrorist only. Why would I agree with you? Even normal Muslims who are not even involved with politics, their identity becomes political. So when all these issues are there, I never say that I won't stand with you. And what I see is they're also showing solidarity. It's a two-side thing. So we have solidarity with the say, Muslim community. We have solidarity with the feminist community. It's happening both ways for the most part. But I don't see solidarity with vegans. And that is what makes us problem that, okay, we three communities are together, but vegans come, they'll shame all the three of us. You'll say, oh, you care about women, you don't care about cows, they're getting No, cows getting is a real issue. I'm not denying that. But when you present it in such a way, these people, they get shut off. They're like, okay, why are you attacking me? You can calmly explain, right?
Okay. If I may just now, this will be quite a large topic. We can dive deep into this. So firstly, let's cover this in this way. you are, let's put it this way, there are vegans here and they are trying to help animals by speaking about the plight that animals go through and trying to convince others to go vegan. That's the message that vegans are giving, right? Regardless of in which fashion they are, but that's the crux of the issue. In this side, we have human rights activists from various different struggles and issues who are trying to speak on behalf of the victims who happen to be humans. And what exactly is the demand? Like, when you right now say, let's take mainly you right now, forget everybody else. Lakhshya speaks mainly against caste issues. So what is your message to the public? Let's say, for example, right now, if you had one message to give to the public right now, what would that message be? Like, if someone asked me, Arvind, what's your message? My message is go vegan. That means you be someone who no longer consumes meat, dairy, eggs or honey, wear leather, wool or silk, and then be vegan. I'll teach you what else to eat instead and you do that. Similarly like that, what would your message first of all be? Give me a clear-cut version.
See, the thing is, I don't want to limit my vision to like that there's only one issue I care about. It could be a primary issue.
But for the sake of argument, else for brevity, else we'll go too big or something. For brevity, say we're taking only the caste issue right now. Let's say, for example, we're taking only the caste issue. What would your message right now be?
My message be is that to understand the caste history in India, say for example, in Germany, the Holocaust happened, people read about it and the white Germans who actually committed the Holocaust, they study about it and they take responsibility for it. There is some prayashchit thing happening. Similarly, in India, I would argue the caste system has been equally horrific. We don't study about it enough in our history books for some goddamn reason. I want people to be educated about it and then understand, okay, why certain people are excluded and then take corrective measures to include those people in society.
That's where the corrective measures, what is that? You please tell.
Corrective measure number one, educate yourself on this topic. Like understand why this happens. Second, the caste feelings which people have. That, you know what, I'm certain Brahmin, I'm superior, I'm Rajput, I'm superior. Get out of that. Those are archaic medieval things.
Okay, so change your mentality. That's number one.
Educate yourself, change your mentality. And thirdly, the thing is that whenever say people say, okay, it's reservation ke wajah se country is becoming like that.
My Hindi is not good, so
it is because of reservation that India is like this. It is because of reservation India is that. Look around in whatever industry you're working, which does not have reservation. Media, movies, songs. You don't see any representation of Dalits at all. They're not there. Cricket also not there. So why are they not there? Is it because they're genetically inferior, or is it because they have never been given the opportunity? So understand that reservation in some sense is a corrective measure. It's not something which is stopping the country or something like that. If you want to increase the number of seats in universities and colleges, that's a separate conversation and we should increase. But then whenever people, they don't make it to a certain college because of marks or something, just simply blame it on reservation, simply blame it on this. Not understanding that reservation is a social upliftment corrective measure.
I get it.
Yeah. Something of that sort. I think that's the core message.
That's the crux. Okay. So from what I could take, for example, when I made my statement saying, go vegan, it's one word, which means change yourself. Yours is also, if I can be right, change your mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
So basically, you want people right now who already have that kind of a casteist mindset or a mindset where they look upon others as inferior.
Or they're caste-blind for that matter.
Ignorant about it. Educate yourself and change your mindset. That's what you're saying. Okay, fine.
Be more conscious about it.
Now, let's say, for example's sake, there is a vegan A. Okay, this person does not happen to be casteist at all. Let's say, for example, they follow the values that you preach.
Okay.
And also, they happen to not be a misogynist. They happen to not be a racist. They happen to not be homophobic.
They're not problematic. Let's put it that way.
They are not in any way violating any human rights. Okay, but this human being is speaking only about animals. Now we have Lakhshya here, who is speaking on behalf of all human beings, is not speaking about animals, which is totally fine. However, by not being vegan, every single day, he is actively exploiting and harming animals. Would that be a fair statement for me to make?
I mean, I've talked positively about veganism in the past, if you see.
No, it's not about speaking positive. Say it this way. Say, for example, I told you, bro, I speak on behalf of women's rights every day. Okay, like I am the best provider of lip service to women's rights, but I go back home every day and beat my wife. Would I be a good human being?
Okay, so you're basically saying, in order to care about animals, you should necessarily be a vegan.
Yeah, absolutely. To be logically consistent, yes. And my point is not even that you have. My point is this. We vegans, in fact, as someone who is again, vegans can also choose to disagree with me if they want to on this, because not all vegans, by the way, agree with everything I say. There's a lot of disagreement within ourselves. But what I'm saying, I believe, is logically sound. And if it's not, please do explain to me where I'm wrong. A vegan who is non-problematic, I'm being very specific there. A vegan who is non-problematic is speaking only about animal rights and is also condemning Lakhshya and saying, Lakhshya, you're taking part in animal exploitation. Please do not do so. They say that the nicest way they're saying it. Please come over to our side. Come over to our side. We're not asking you to be a vegan activist. Just be a vegan. Now, Lakhshya is here. He, if I'm not wrong, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 3 times a day is exploiting animals in the most horrifying ways possible.
Probably eat a couple of eggs or something, man. It's not like...
I don't know, but let's just say. But he is exploiting animals when it's necessary, okay? And like, just for example, if I may ask this to if it's not wrong. You said you were at a cafe right now. Did you eat something there in the cafe?
I had coffee.
Made from cow's milk.
Yeah.
So you chose to exploit the animal there. Okay. Now, I hope I'm not exaggerating. Sure. Yeah. My aim is not like to paint a negative picture about you. So here, Lakhshya has chosen to exploit animals at least 3 times a day, we can say more or less, okay? And however, he's consistently speaking out against different parts of human oppression because he understands the connective tissue between all of them, and he's expounding upon that. And this vegan, however, is not speaking about human rights issue, is not harming humans, not exploiting animals, and is condemning animal exploitation. Who is the problem here?
See, I'll give you one better example. For example, the same...
But who is the problem in this example?
I'll give you in the same line of argumentation. I'll give you this.
Go on.
This Palestine activist, okay? They were like, they saw a story where I was consuming Diet Coke. And Diet Coke particularly, I think PepsiCo is partly owned by someone who is an Israeli or something like that.
Yeah, even Starbucks, and they were saying
they were doing boycott.
I saw.
And I was on fire that, you talk about Palestine, but you're drinking Coke, Diet Coke. Now you are also responsible for genocide, something like that. So again, it becomes like a stretch, right? The thing is, when you start policing the daily behaviors of people, why are you drinking that? Why are you eating that? I think that becomes a bit of a stretch. You can be like, look, whatever you're doing, that's wrong. These are better alternatives. These are better you can have these. Probably you can be like, okay, instead of milk, have almond milk or something like that. That would be one thing. But the moment you say, look, you are immoral, you should change, otherwise you are killing someone, that you could be logically correct, but the way when you say that in that way, people are going to be put off. And I was in a lot of ways.
But Lakhshya, would you not agree that the way you do activism, and I have seen you speak. In fact, I am, to be honest, telling my wife before coming, like, you don't know this guy. If he gets mad, he's capable of really expressing himself. No. My point is this: the way you do activism. Even you recently put out, I think, one of your videos saying that how much people are uncomfortable when they hear you. But now you are saying you are uncomfortable, even though we speak the truth. That's you are showing 2 different sides here. You have the right to speak your truth, which is the truth. I'm not denying that regarding human rights. And you have the right to make people uncomfortable because you want things to change for the better. Why can't we vegans do the same to you?
See, 2 things, okay? If you guys care about one, just being correct, I'm correct, you're wrong, then probably you can be rude and be like, look, we are morally superior. But if you really care about bringing the other person to your side, I don't think straight up being that way works, right?
But you say that, but then again, a person who is of a caste oppressor mindset or of a misogynistic mindset could say, well, Lakshya, if only you speak to me this way, I might change. You'll be like, what bloody bullshit you'll say, right?
Example I'll give you. Say, for instance, a lot of people in the Ambedkarite community and all, we have a certain views towards the Hindu religion. We say, okay, Hindu religion has the Varna system inbuilt. Probably that religion in its root core could be, in definition, exploitatory. Some people hold that view. And if you look at it from a scriptural basis, probably there is truth to it. A lot of people believe so. And even I am aligned that way. I identify as an atheist. And
same, I'm an atheist.
Yeah. No, my own parents are practicing Hindus. They go to temples and they do all that. And sometimes in my own conversations, we're like, oh, that person got married. What was the caste and all? No. Does it make me uncomfortable? Yes. Do I sometimes talk to my parents like, hey, look, like this? But I never shame them, right? I don't understand that we live in a society, and the moment you start branding people, like as you said, call someone Hitler, something like that, at that point, it just breaks down the whole thing.
Yeah, but in a way, in English, we can also call this as tone policing. I'm not saying you're wrong. Yeah. You are right to say that obviously saying things in a more empathetic manner, saying in a more respectful manner will work, which is why if you look at my activism for the vast majority of it, I don't know if you've seen many of my videos when I go and lecture in schools and colleges.
One more thing with the vegans, okay? When you zoom out and see, the Muslim things, Gaza thing, you'll see a lot of Muslims talk about it, obviously because they face the same thing, relate to it.
Yeah,
and
of course,
also a lot of people from Dalit backgrounds, even LGBT people talking about it, because they understand that pain in some level. And even you talk about caste issues, apart from people from the lower communities, you will also see a lot of, again, LGBT people being very vocal about these things, and a lot of people, even Muslims also understanding this thing, because in some way we feel that we share the same pain.
Yeah.
And also people coming from, say, a JNU background or someone who is vocal about these issues, they'll be vocal about all of these and at least be empathetic. But then vegans, I find them to be completely baffling. Like the most famous vegans also in India, the vegan parliamentarian is Menaka Gandhi. Maybe she's vegetarian or vegan, I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
But she was in a vegan conference recently, was speaking out on something. She's what, BJP MP?
I believe,
so vegans are all over the place. We find it hard to place you guys in this. Like, do you, because we all care about these things, and then vegans will see what? Vegans, I haven't found one Muslim vegan in India. Probably there'll be some, but no one in the this Dalit
they
vegans.
Exist. They exist.
They exist, but in the margins somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see them vocal. Right?
Because again, once again, I come from a privileged background. I had the privilege to quit my job because my father has earned enough that I can stay in his house without paying rent. So I agree with my privileges. Obviously, the other
I'll give you a very crude example. This debate which is happening, you're paying a lot of money, and the organization, I think the NGO paying you, Karuna organization, which is run by, again, like I think it's a Brahmin who's the CEO.
And a Jain, yes. Both
and a Jain, a Shah.
Again,
certain privileged caste background.
Yes, absolutely, agreed.
I kid you not, to talk about Dalit issues. I mean, we'd love to have, similar debates where we have these right-wing people and we debate with them on why caste is not this. We don't have the funds. We don't have the similar kind of this. So think about it. In India, for animal activism, people are willing to churn out that much money.
Right.
But to talk about caste issues, you don't find that kind of push. No one funding us like that, right? And I think that on those lines, you have to understand, I think a person wrote an article about you calling you casteist, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're not necessarily saying you are explicitly casteist. What they're saying is, in this larger scheme of things, you're probably not understanding this. That if an anti-caste person wants to do this advocacy, there is no base supporting him. There's no people being like, okay, inko 3 lakhs bula ke, do an interview, do a podcast. But think about it. You yourself claim that the vegans, the animals are at the bottom, right? So animals who are at the bottom, their activism is being funded by 3 lakhs per podcast by some foreign NGO. But the Dalits in India who are human, who make up a large chunk of Indian population, unke liye no one is giving 3 lakhs. So again, you see, right, in some places, we Dalit activists feel like, is our place below the vegans now, below the animals now? So that makes us believe that, okay, these guys, these Brahmins sitting abroad, they have that much money to care about animals, but for Dalits and for Muslims and all, we don't see them funding anything, right? And that makes us very skeptical of your activism, because again, every time I find a vegan, it happens to be from a certain upper caste Brahmin or maybe some like that only, Hindu background, and it makes us very skeptical. Why are only this set of people, and why, even if the Karuna Foundation, which is funding, I don't think they have said a word about, say, the things in Gaza or the caste system or feminism, anything of that sort. We get very skeptical.
Right. So you have expressed yourself very clearly. And first of all, for the comments that you have made regarding how there are people in NGOs abroad, which are also once again Brahmins and Jains on top, which are prioritizing. I'm not saying
they are casteist or something. Not at all.
And they are choosing to prioritize animal suffering over human suffering and do this, which makes you question these things.
Yeah, and the thing is, no one with that wealth.
You did. I'm just saying you spoke for quite some time. So first of all, I want to just say that I acknowledge everything you said, and I am not here to in any way even disagree with one statement you said over there, because you did not necessarily say these things are happening, therefore you come to a conclusion. You just said these things are happening, that makes you skeptical, which is completely fair in my eyes. I completely agree with you. But once again, we have kind of gone away from the point I was making here. And I would request, if we can, Lakshya, right now, if we could just attack the point alone. And the point is very simple. We have group A, which is not exploiting, which is not problematic and not exploiting any group at all in society, be it from animals to humans, A. We have group B, which is actively exploiting animals, but not exploiting humans at all. In this scenario, who is the problematic one?
Both of them don't oppress humans, but one is oppressing animals. Yeah, I think the one oppressing animals are more problematic.
Okay, fair. I'm glad for you saying that honestly. So in that regard, first of all, I want to make one of my... Hold on, buddy. I have to speak right now. I want to make one point very clear, and that is, if you were to say that vegans only, we can take you seriously only if you also take part or at least acknowledge the activism that we do in regards to humans, I think that is very wrong and hypocritical of you to say. And in fact, I would go as far as saying that's actually a deflection from the accountability that we're seeking from you. Let me complete my statement. I'll tell you why I'm feeling that way. It's because not everyone in this world is in a position to help. But many of us are in a position not to hurt, which is why in my example I asked you, one group not exploiting anyone, one group not exploiting humans, but still doing to animals. You guys who are, if I'm to say, there are many privileged people also who are intersectional activists like yourself who do speak up for human beings. But you guys, despite of that privilege, still choose to consume animal products, still choose to exploit animals, and then say you guys who are not problematic in any way are the reason that we are being turned off from this. That is just lack of accountability.
No. What I'm saying is, say for instance, you are there. You have a large following on your YouTube and your Instagram,
yes,
right? People look up to you, and if you say something, people will take you seriously.
Yes.
So if you have a voice and you have influence, the least you can do is, if you don't vocally advocate about, say, caste or feminism or whatever, you can at least share the post of someone who does. That won't hurt you, right?
No. It wouldn't hurt me, but I want to disagree on that.
Why?
For a simple reason, my aim and my focus is solely on animal rights. There is no reason for, or if you could provide me a convincing argument, then maybe I'll concede. Okay, if you can provide.
What do you mean? Like, for example, you are there, genocide happening in Gaza. What stops you from like sharing a post about it, or maybe
let's get right into the nitty-gritty. Okay. First of all, number one, when you say share, can you be precise and tell me what exactly you plan?
Put a story.
I won't. I'll tell you why. Because even if you notice right now, today, even though we took a picture, I will not be putting up the story today. I'll be putting it up tomorrow, probably at 10 a.m. Indian time. The reason being is because I put up only one story at a time. Because that's when that particular picture I put up or whatever link I'm sending there is going to get the most number of interaction. The moment it divulges into 2, 3, 4, 5, I've noticed that it completely disperses.
That is a different.
No. So that way, I have a choice to put one story a day. I'm going to put it for animals. I'm not going to put it for humans.
Okay, first story put for animals. Second story you can put for Gaza.
But that's the thing. If I put second or third story, it is affecting the algorithms. Before earlier, there used to be something called as cross posting, I believe, on Instagram. Right? For example, I can post up this
So if I quote you correctly, you are saying you don't want to post anything about Gaza or feminists because it will be posted second, so the algorithm won't push it.
Even about other animal rights activists can reach out to me, many of these vegan groups, and say, can you please promote? I told them, no, I am using my platform to promote only veganism. That is the way I promote them, because I may not even necessarily agree. Like you said, there are problematic vegans. I cannot necessarily just indulge in any form of things. Like, for example, if there is a message, okay, which I feel a vegan is out there and they have a problematic way of spreading veganism, which even you have also mentioned, there are vegans who do that. I may not necessarily share, even if they ask me, like, I am a vegan, Arvind, can you share? I'm like, no, I can't.
That is different, right? If they're the problematic view, that is different. For example, something as simple as a fundraiser for the children of Gaza. What is the problem in sharing that?
Because what is that fundraiser for, Lakhshya, if I can ask you?
If the kids, they're not getting food, probably food grains for kids, something like that. Something as basic as that.
But so this food is right now being prepared by us, the privileged people, to give to the impoverished people who are right now suffering and need aid in Gaza, right?
Basically aid for Gaza,
But us privileged people are going to choose to slaughter animals to put them into as food and then send it there, right? Just to be clear.
Okay, let's say vegan food for Gaza. Let us say if that doesn't exist. Okay, vegan food for Gaza.
I would donate. I'll donate money to it. I have no issues. I'll donate money.
What's the issue? Like putting a story saying that, okay, for example, people in Gaza, okay, predominantly Muslim population, predominantly they eat non-veg. It's not a thing. But just because they're eating non-veg, you're saying you don't want to help them.
Exactly. I am of the strong opinion that, let me explain. I'm of the strong opinion that there is no necessity for me or for you to help anyone in this world. What? Helping is optional. Not hurting is obligatory. Do you disagree with that? Like, say, for example, this. That's why, put it this way. Have you and me ever seen each other till now today? No, it's never happened right now. Now, that means a statement, if I say that I have never punched Lakhshya so far, will be true because it's the first time we ever met. Now, since I have never punched you so far, does that mean that I've been helping you all these days? No, I've been a decent human being. That's it. Similarly, being vegan is about just doing the bare decency for animals. You're not necessarily helping animals. You don't have to speak out for animals. You're just no longer doing what you should have never done to begin with. That's what veganism is. So I am preaching a message right now, and I want to spend this is my decision, Lakhshya. What's wrong with my personal choice here right now? I am saying my life, my money, everything, my energy and everything I have. If you were to ask me right now to take a bullet, put a gun and say, Arvind, magical gun, if you are being shot right now, tomorrow 1 lakh people in this country will go vegan, I'll pull the trigger before you're even done speaking. Okay, that is what I want to dedicate my life to. Why do you want me to fight for something else?
What do you mean? See, the thing is, if suffering is bad,
equally across the board for everybody, and I will not harm anybody.
Why is, as you said, animal suffering more important for you than children suffering?
For me, yes.
Why is it more important?
I would say it's just my own personal feelings. That comes to feelings.
In your personal feeling, animal suffering is more important for you than human suffering.
To me, and you can disagree. To me, yes.
So I quote correctly,
yes, please.
For vegan Arvind, animal suffering is more important than the suffering of children in Gaza.
Absolutely, you can quote me on that. Yes, for me, to me personally.
I mean, still, again, everything is you personally only. All opinions are personal.
Yeah, but then again, I can also say, so Lakhshya, are you telling me the suffering of human children in Gaza is more important than the suffering of chickens and fish and pigs and cows?
Yes.
See, it goes the same way. How come what I am saying is extreme, what you're saying is not apparently?
Human, right? Humans caring about humans is one thing. Animals are not human.
They're not. And Gazans are not Indians. And Gazans are not people who speak Telugu.
Two things, okay. If I had to pick between a genocide happening in, say, Andhra Pradesh versus genocide happening in, say, Palestine, and if I had the money, I would donate here first. But I would never say that is bad. I'll put first story will be this, and my second story would be
but
that.
when did I ever say that their suffering is not wrong? Their suffering is all right, or their suffering is in what way? Like, did I ever say we should not help, or did I tell you not to help? Did I ever say any of those statements?
See. What I'm saying is, you feel,
Yes.
say, human, okay? First, you care about yourself.
Yes,
Then
right,
you care
correct.
about your family, your
Correct,
partner, your
correct,
children.
correct, yes.
And then probably your extended family, then your school friends and all.
For me, not even my extended family or school friends. It's me.
Straight up go to animals.
Yes, me, my wife, my parents, animals. That's it. I that's what I dedicate. I live and die for them. That's it. This is how I live. Yes, I'm being honest. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is where we disagree.
Yeah, and then fair enough. Here's my thing. You can disagree with me on that all you want, and I have zero problem. My problem, like I told you, however, is that I cannot say that just because, see, that's what I'm saying, helping is optional, being decent is mandatory. You are an indecent person to animals, Lakhshya, because you are not a vegan, even though you can choose to be one.
What I'm saying is, if you have an influence, if you have a voice, you can talk 95% about your core issue, which is animals. No problem with that. But that at least 5%, you should also talk about other issues, which are, again, a genocide happening. A woman is raped 6 minutes every day in India. If these issues we don't highlight with someone with such a voice, see, once you're an activist, it's no longer just your personal opinion. Once you're an activist, you have a social responsibility, because so many people, 2.5 lakh people look up to you, right? And if you say something, they will take it seriously.
Yes.
And if you have that voice, by not talking about certain things, you're doing your own followers a disservice, right?
Not necessarily. If you notice, even when the dog issue came up for Delhi, I didn't speak about that actually. I don't. No.
You don't speak about anything is what I've understood.
No. I don't speak about anything really.
As in, except animals.
Animals mainly who are being exploited in the meat, dairy, and egg industries. They are the ones that I talk about.
You're a vegan, I get that.
Yeah,
Right.
and the reason is because when you look at sheer numbers, we are exploiting and torturing over 100 billion animals every single year. Only 100 billion humans have ever roamed on Earth ever till history right now.
Okay.
Yet we torture and kill more animals than that every year on Earth on land alone.
How do we end that?
Huh?
How do we end that?
How do we end that? By right now, those who are privileged and those who have the option to choose only plant-based food and plant-based option for clothing to make that shift. So that therefore, let's say for
You have
example,
to convince more people to be vegan, correct?
that's correct. Yes.
If that is your goal and you want to convince more people to be vegan, the way you get people to empathize with you is by showing them that you also empathize with their
But
pain.
I don't want people to empathize with me. I have
As in your
nobody in
problem.
this.
No. See, animals don't have a voice, right? You
Right.
speak for them.
Yes.
So you want people to understand your point of view.
Yes, and
If you want people to understand your point of view and like empathize with your whatever you think, they,
go on.
yeah,
First,
you get the point.
Go on,
right?
bro. No, go on. Yeah.
Then that person should also feel like the other person cares about their issue, their pain, their community's pain. Once you do that, what I've seen is that when I was talking about anti-caste issues, and I'm not saying, see, even the Dalit population, even the Adivasi population, lower caste population, they're not all perfect. You'll find people who are men who are misogynistic from the community, someone who are Islamophobic in the community. They're not all perfect. They're all human, like every one of us. But what I observed that once you talk anti-caste and then say you talk about, say, Muslim oppression, even the Dalits are likely to understand and be like, okay, what is ever happening with Muslims is bad. We should not target their religion and their identity. So once you talk for a certain community and you make them feel like, look, I get your pain, they're very likely to understand the pain of other communities.
And that is what I say. I say,
Yeah, but you are saying, look, you can have genocide happening. But I will not put one post because algorithm, because I choose not to, because personal choice.
Absolutely.
So you are in a way sabotaging your own reach, right?
Not really. And I'm telling you again, I don't know why you are so hard pressed on focusing me to help others when I've already made a statement that helping is optional. Do you agree that helping is optional and not harming is obligatory? Do you first agree with the statement I made?
Yeah.
Then what's the problem?
No. The thing is, from a...
No, then what you've said so far actually doesn't really hold much water because, like I told you, helping is optional. Lakhshya doesn't have to ever speak one word about animals. Ever in your life. Nothing. You don't have to make one post, one word.
Listen.
No, let's take veganism and throw it in the garbage. Don't even call yourself a vegan. But please be someone who does not exploit animals, which means do not eat meat, dairy, eggs, and honey. Do not wear leather, wool, silk, and fur.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking of you.
Well, here I fundamentally disagree. I'll tell you how.
Explain to me.
You care about minimizing animal suffering.
No, I do not care about I don't want to minimize animal suffering.
Eliminating animal suffering.
More than that, I want animals to have rights. the right to not be, I want in the constitution for us to write down and say that animals have the right to not be treated as objects, as commodities, as slaves, and be used by human beings for anything. I'm not even talking about killing here. Kill, because first of all, it's impossible
we'll start with minimizing and then eliminating and then rights, right? It just happens in a spectrum. You can't willy-nilly be like, tomorrow constitution has
but which is why my message, if you want to call it, it's called as an abolitionist approach.
Okay.
The approach where I'm saying, please reject the commodity status. Like animals right now have a status in society. Commodities. Please reject the commodity status of animals. And in order to do that, you have to be a vegan. Because you cannot say animals have moral value and not be a vegan. This is like saying, like, I don't want to harm children, but I enjoy hearing children scream. Like, you cannot make the statement. You get my point? Like,
I'll tell you something. Okay. Here, if tomorrow, say 1,000 people stop consuming a certain kind of meat, will that be better or not?
No, not better. Right? Because we're not talking about kinds of meat. We're saying animals are not meat. Animals are not milk machines. Animals are not egg machines.
That's the ideal goal, right? That is your end goal.
Yes.
But we move there point by point.
No, I'll have to make my message clear. Like, for example, if I was standing up hypothetically for women's rights or children's rights, I would not, first of all, go to a group of people who are misogynistic men or oppressive men and say, please do not harm women because if you do so, you'll go to jail. That's a pathetic statement for me to make. Don't harm them because you have no right over them. Their body, not yours. Their choice, not yours. No. When I am speaking up for a group of marginalized individuals, and that too for animals who have been oppressed and suffering now for a countless number of years, it's been justified through tradition, through culture, through religion, through society, everything. I want to make my message very, very clear. I do not want to, of course, my actions that lead up, if hopefully one day we reach what we vegans call as animal liberation, but that will go step by step. But my message will never change along the way.
I'm not telling you to change the message. For example, there are men in the past and they used to beat their wives, go home and beat their wives. Forget about women's rights, women's right to vote. We haven't reached there. They're still beating their wives. Convincing them to not beat their wives, step in the right direction?
That would be a step in the right direction if that particular statement of ours does not lead downhill another wrong event.
How?
When it comes to animals, it does. When it comes to animals, I can break it.
Say, for example, I convince 100 people to not have eggs. What's wrong with that?
Beautiful question. In fact, instead of eggs, when you initially said some kind of meat, can we take that example?
Okay.
If, say, for example, tomorrow someone sees my videos and they say to me, Arvind, you know what? I'll stop eating mutton and beef from tomorrow. I will be so sad.
Because you'll say chicken will die.
More chickens will die. Because when you kill one cow or one goat, you actually get so much more animal flesh, which can feed. One death equals to feeding more number of people. But in order to get that back, when it comes to chickens... and
so I should tell people eating chicken that eat beef because less animals will die.
Which is why I do not... From a factual perspective, you're right. Factually, you're right. Which is why I don't say either. I say go vegan. Because you notice when it comes to this animal rights issue, it is a slippery slope. When you say one thing incorrectly...
Probably, okay, for a better example, I said people don't use leather. Is that a better thing? There's no opportunity cost for that, right?
I would still say yes, there is, if I can be honest. Because what's happening is that that's the same issue I had with
these... They'll have vegan leather or something instead of that, right?
But I'll tell you why. It's because it's the same thing that happens in regards to this whole dog issue again that happened. I'll tell you why these two things combine together. You know that all the dog lovers are protesting on the streets for dogs and stuff. I am saying when you tell someone that apparently one particular act of exploiting an animal alone is immoral and that needs to be focused upon and changed, they now have a halo around their head. So when you then go...
That's a different... see,
wait, hold on. So when you now go... When I go to the dog lovers and tell them, hey guys, you're fighting for dogs, you're saying you love animals, blah, 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 all is great. Please consider being vegans because dogs alone are not animals. Even cows and pigs and chickens are animals. They say to me, screw you. I'm already doing enough.
No. See. For example, change.
So for leather, they be like, I already changed. Why do you want me to become vegan? I already changed my leather.
If you convince someone to do one thing, you can convince them for the second thing because it's adjacent. And then the other thing adjacent. And at the end of the day, you can probably get him to be a vegan.
From my experience from doing this activism in regards to animal rights for now 9 years, I can assure you that does not work. And that's why I take the position I take, Lakhshya. As someone who is... when it comes to your field, you're the boss. I'm not here to like tell you how to do your work because you know far better than me and you are far more experienced from what you said in the beginning, your education to your background and everything. Similarly, I hope you can believe me when I make the statement that when it comes to animal rights, it's not the same. People misconstrue everything. people love to not be accountable. And if I can just say one thing, Lakhshya, we've gone along this topic again, but still we have not covered this one point here. That is, I am again taking a statement. I just want you to yes or no, black and white. Okay, helping is optional. Not harming is obligatory. Yes or no?
In that thing, yeah.
Yes.
But in this context, it's not setting, right?
But no. If something is, if you are saying to hear yes, then it has to sit in every. I am saying to you openly, Lakhshya. All right. Never speak about veganism, Lakhshya. Never make one post about veganism. Okay? Never speak about veganism. You stand up only for humans, and you know what? I respect you, my brother, 100%. But if you choose not to be a vegan, you are choosing every day to exploit animals. You are actively harming them, whereas myself, as a non-problematic vegan, I'm not. You
this is again the moral high ground, right?
No, because it's fact. That's why I asked you. If I tell you I have never punched Lakshya, how old are you, if I can ask you, by the way?
26.
Holy crap, you're so young.
I turned 26 like recently only.
You're amazing for your age, bro. Just letting you know that. Awesome. So, you kind of threw me off for a second. I thought you're my age. I'm 33. Sorry, I didn't mean to say you look old, but no, I did not imagine 26. Okay. So, I have never punched Lakshya in the age, in the face for 26 years. You know what? That makes me a good person. No, that's basic decency. Similarly, you being a vegan is the bare minimum. After that, fight for humans, fight for people. I don't mind.
Basic decency, say for example, it's a very cultural thing, right?
I'm basing this on facts though, bro. Like,
see, for example, 200 years ago, not beating your wife was basic decency. And you could have the opinion that women should not vote, women are inferior, but that was not considered problematic.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, you should obviously not beat your wife. But if you have the belief that women are inferior, they should not vote, you would be like, bro, you're not indecent. So these are cultural things. In today's socio-cultural context, to say that, if you are not a vegan, you're an indecent person, I think that's not right.
Then let me phrase it properly. If you have the privilege of being able to spare 100 to 120 rupees per day for your food, if you can spare 100 to 120 rupees per day, I can show you a meal plan and everything to get all of your nutrients. Okay. If you have that privilege to be vegan, you should be a vegan. And if you're not a vegan, even that privilege, you are exploiting animals when it's clearly not necessary for you. And therefore, I condemn that to be immoral.
See, this is the same argument as that, if you consume Coke, you're supporting the genocide of Gaza.
That's
right?
a difference, though. Because, could you first break down that argument properly for me? Like, how does it work?
Say, for instance, if I buy a Diet Coke, and it's giving money to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, in a way, is owned by the Israelis, and that profit goes to the Israeli government, which they're using to buy weapons and kill people and things of that sort.
Well, if someone genuinely cares about the Gaza issue so much, then ideally, yes, they should not support Coca-Cola. They should not.
Or Starbucks or these things for that matter.
Ideally, they should. If you really do say you care about that issue so much, then yes, ideally, you should not do that. Yeah. Because it makes no sense. Because if you are saying genocide is happening there, why make my money blood money? Right.
Yeah, see. But
it does make sense, actually.
In the larger scheme of things, okay, what, 40 rupees something, Diet Coke? Probably they'll have a margin of 4 rupees on that. Out of the 4, government will take 1 rupee tax. What, 3 rupees they'll take in?
But 3 rupees done by over 80 crore Indians leads to how many bullets they can create, right?
Now look, I can advocate that these brands reduce your consumption, something like that. But an outright boycott and then putting, the problem I have is this purity thing, right? You become Puritan. If you consume this, you're a bad person. You consume Diet Coke, you support genocide.
But once again, I make my statement. If you consume when you have the privilege of 100 or 120 rupees, I want to make that statement very clear. Because if I made a blunt statement saying everyone like that, you have the right to say I'm being a Puritarian. But when someone does have the privilege and the option to choose, and they choose not to choose, they are being immoral. The difference is this. Let's just say, for example, tomorrow, the company of Coke. And again, I don't know, are we allowed to mention these companies? Or should I just beep these brand names when I make
No, you can, I guess. I think it's fine.
We are allowed to say these things?
Yeah. I mean, I'll
check with my lawyer. Because I don't want some kind of a strike tomorrow based on this.
Coca-Cola would be like...
We're not that worth it yet.
Yeah. No. Even if they do, long run better for us. Because we'll be like, they talked about genocide and this and Coca-Cola put this thing on them. Our video might get banned, but we can get 10x more media coverage, right?
Yeah, fine. I'll ask my lawyer. I'll speak to my lawyer on this. And no, but what I wanted to say was, I lost my train of thought. When it comes to, where was I? Like before I said
this, if you by consuming coke, if you're just supporting genocide, by consuming meat, you're also like
Yeah, and the thing is, let's assume tomorrow this particular brand of soft drinks we're talking about goes under. Okay, they're not able to get a profit anymore. Would the war still continue? Yes or no?
Yeah,
it would. Let's say tomorrow everyone decides to go vegan. Will the meat and egg industry still continue?
No.
That's your difference, my friend.
Yeah.
So you are funding, because see, if Lakhshya is not paying, they are not going to behead that chicken.
See, no. What I'm saying
you
is,
are responsible.
Say, for example, one person, me eating or not eating in this huge multi-billion industry is like a very tiny this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Other than that, even the same with the diet thing, like in the whole thing, because I don't think Coke is the only company which has this larger geopolitical factors at play, and even this meat thing, I think it is not simply the animal factor, it's more of cultural reasons that we have been consuming meat, therefore we are like, okay, we'll have industry for this. Tomorrow, people find a cheaper alternative, more economical alternative, lab-made meat or something like that, which causes less pain, gives the same taste. I think a lot of people will pick that.
Yeah, but then that still doesn't answer my question. When it comes to the Coke example, or even Starbucks or any other brand, even if all these brands for some reason we snapped a finger like Thanos and we made them all disappear. Okay.
See, again, you're talking from a very like a utopian imaginary world. I'm being more practical.
But how is what I'm saying not practical or sensible? I'm saying if we were to Thanos snap all of those let's say companies that do let's say are owned by Israel right now, and we remove them from earth, the war would still continue and they would find other ways to get their funds together.
Yeah.
Whereas the meat, dairy and egg industries do only get their money from us, the customers.
Yeah,
we
see,
are,
the
so
other
that's,
way around.
that's a clear, do you not agree with this clear distinction,
See, the
Lakshya?
thing is, capitalism, if there's a demand, it will supply.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So our issue is not like, oh, we ban the companies. It's like, if we change people's minds, right? See, why I don't think people eat meat because they hate animals. Or
Of course, I agree.
Yeah. People largely culturally have been raised that, chicken is tasty and you have to eat it, and we culturally grew up eating it, so we eat it. A lot of things with religion and things are like that only. You are born into it, right?
But you yourself do agree that unnecessary exploitation of animals is 100% immoral. You do.
Yeah, I agree with that. So what I'm saying is, if your thought process from a young age is like that, that we think that, okay, no one eats animals because they hate them.
I agree.
But in Gaza or whatever we are seeing there is that they actively hate the Palestinians. They're like, you guys are inferior, you're all terrorists. Same thing we see with the whole caste system and all. Certain communities of people, they actively look them at inferior. Your lives don't matter anymore, and things of that sort, right? So there it's a more mindset wala thing. But the chicken meat thing, if you give them an alternative, if you're like, okay, lab-made meat, similar taste,
why do
cheaper,
we need lab-based meat when you have soy chunks, you have tofu?
I don't think it tastes the same, right?
So now so when you now make the statement, I don't think it tastes the same, you are making the statement that your taste, and you just said right now that exploitation of animals when it's not needed is wrong. Is taste a necessity for you, Lakshya? You can live without the
I'm talking about people in general.
No, but now I have made my...
See, I don't want the debate to be on my personal choices, what I do at home or what I eat, or if I drink smoke or something like that, right?
Oh, but I know it seems odd for me to come and talk about your personal choices that way.
Yeah.
But when your personal choices do involve exploiting animals, unfortunately, I have to bring it to the table.
See, the thing is,
because we cannot just ignore their suffering.
Argument I had when I think a lot of vegans made videos about me. You are actively eating meat. Okay, if you are principled vegan and you say, okay, this guy is promoting it. You can make that claim, if I'm promoting whey protein, then I'm promoting animal suffering. I think that's a fair argument.
But but you are supporting, forget promoting. I am saying through your actions, you are directly funding. If Lakhshya does not pay, that does not happen.
Ajay, tell me something. Am I the only person who eats meat in the world?
No, which is why...
out of everyone they could find...
Why are you not willing to take accountability for yourself, bro? That's my only question.
The thing is, see, if you want to individually target a guy and say, look, you are eating meat, you are wrong, you have to change. Why would you start with me?
I'm not starting with you.
No, not you, but a lot of activists. I mean, I have multiple vegans make videos about me, reels about me.
I have seen those videos. Yes. I know.
I'm like, bro, out of everyone, why me?
Can I tell you why? Why you felt targeted though? And the reason is because when we look at Lakhshya, we see someone who speaks for justice. We see someone who speaks against discrimination. We see someone who stands for the truth. Yet, unfortunately, he is going against all of those principles every time he supports the meat, dairy and egg industries. So we are pointing out that a man like yourself who speaks up for justice, stands up for truth, who stands against the oppressed, is however oppressing animals, even though he doesn't have to, we find that to be hypocritical. You also happen to be an influential person in the social media scene.
But the thing is, all these people who called me out, no word about Gaza, no word about caste, no word about feminism.
But we've been over that. Helping is optional, not exploiting.
I fundamentally disagree with that. If you have an audience, if you have a large chunk of audience, see for example me, if I really believe that, you know what, veganism has to be there, and I personally be a vegan, I'll be the first one to advocate it, right?
No, wait, hold up. If you disagree with that, saying helping is not optional, then you must agree that there are 10,000. Hold up. There are 10,000 different issues happening right now in the world, even in our own country.
Yeah.
Do you go around making sure that you speak up about every
as much as I can?
But why as much as you can? Why not every single thing?
See, I'll tell you. For example, if I'm a private individual, I don't have a social media presence, I don't have influence, I have nothing. Then it doesn't really matter if I speak or I not, because there's no impact. But if I have a voice with influence, where if I say something, thousands of people will listen to me, take me seriously, then it is in a way obligatory. You might not be completely educated about it, but if some person, some other creator is made content about it and he comes like, look, this is a serious issue, please share it, please share it.
Right. And whenever you share those issues, are you ever a perpetrator in any of those issues?
Could be. If, for example, in the gender dynamic, I'm a man, right? You are also a man.
Yes.
And in the gender dynamic, we might like it or not, we are born with certain privileges.
We have privileges.
For example,
are you a perpetrator? Are you a perpetrator? There's a difference between having privilege and recognizing it and being a perpetrator.
See, when you say perpetrator, for example, say sexual exploitation of women, the perpetrator actively looks down on women and like hates women, right? That's why they show power by whatever sexual assault or whatever they do.
Yes.
Similarly with the caste thing, the certain people doing the class exploitation, they have active hate for the certain other community.
Right.
The fundamental difference with the whole meat thing is that people don't hate animals necessarily.
But it doesn't matter whether you hate them or not, you are still exploiting them and you are the perpetrator in that scenario.
Say for example, if I am part of the Israeli army and I'm going and killing Palestinians versus me buying a Coke, which probably in some way funds them, it's a wildly different thing.
That is wide. I agree. It is wide. Yes, I agree.
Similar to the meat thing, if I'm like active, if I have a dog at home and like beating it up and doing that, like that is way different from me consuming meat.
No, you cannot procure meat, dairy and eggs at this point in time right now in our human history without exploiting animals. But you can procure...
But it's not the same kind of active exploitation, right?
My friend, if right now I'm standing here and behind me there are 100 animals and I am saying to you that I am going to start beheading them one by one, but only on one stipulation, Lakhshya, open your wallet and give me some cash, and you drop the cash and I start doing it. You are the puppet. You have hired a hitman to do it right now for yourself.
But see,
how can you say, why do you try to distance yourself from this violence? You are responsible for it. Why do you are the reason it's happening, and then you not only do you make it happen, you then take and you consume it. You literally eat them. You are responsible, bro.
So in a large chunk of the population which consumes meat, I think there'll be like 1% who actively hates animals, and a large chunk of people do it either for cultural reasons, convenience for like protein or something like that, nutritional reasons, right?
So, but
I'm not saying these people are necessarily on the right. It is problematic that we are cutting animals, but I wouldn't look at it in the same way compared to say a sexual assault or something like a murder.
I'm not saying you hate animals. I get that. But then when I'm clearly telling to you, Lakshya, you can eat these other options, and then you tell me, but they aren't tasty, you don't give a damn about the animals.
I'm not saying that I eat animals for taste.
But when I told you you could eat soy chunks, tofu or something instead, you didn't say, but they won't be as tasty.
This debate is not about what I do in my personal life. It's like in general, right?
We are speaking in general, but I also want to speak about you because I'm trying to make you take accountability for your actions. I hope you don't take this as an attack on you.
No, I'm not taking it as an attack, but if I think talking about, if you see, the thing is using it as a morality test, right? A lot of times, I mean, I have been targeted, but typically, when I was younger, I went to temple, I had some photos of temple, my parents ke saath, and people targeted me. Oh, you're anti-caste, but you're Hindu. How is that possible? Purity test. That if you do this, your activism is waste. Something like that, right?
But I did not make any such hyperbolic statement towards you.
No, I'm not saying that. Here, the thing is, as you were saying, that if you consume meat, this essay, then
animal products,
then you're no longer valid. This is basically what you're saying.
What is not valid?
As in, advocating something is one thing. Like, for example, if I'm making statements which promote that, what, you should go have meat, you should do that, and that is influencing people to do harm, is much different from what I choose to do in my own private life, right?
Yeah, but my friend, just because you say it's your private life and it's your personal choice does not mean right now that you are any distant from the violence that you are choosing to take part in when you can clearly choose not to take part in. Why do you... See, I feel like you're making a distinction here. You're saying there's a difference between promoting and consumption. But I am saying that in the end of the day, it's because of let's just say we remove all the promotions happening to the meat industry right now. No more ads, no more influencers promoting blah, blah, blah. All of that right now has been snapped away. But we still have the same number of people choosing to consume. The industry will still persist. It's not because of people being educated to eat it that it exists. People still choosing to eat it is why it exists. When you choose to stop supporting it, it will stop existing. The onus is still on you, my friend.
No. See, for example, there are these carnivore activists or something, raw meat eaters.
Yeah, but again, why are we... People. See, I will never put one as wrong. I am saying you guys are exploiting animals, exploiters. Why are you making levels to this right now?
What I'm telling you is, for example, if I say I'm a diet page, I'm a nutrition page, and I tell that you have to eat meat, this is a better way, then that'll influence a lot of people. Probably they eat meat once a week to eating every day. Something like that. That in magnitude, if I have 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 10 lakh followers, in magnitude, that is going to cause a lot more animal consumption than one person in his private life.
In the beginning, I told you I have an abolitionist approach. I am not taking the approach of more or less. I'm not taking the approach. As I told you, the 2 knives, both are bloody. You can't tell. It doesn't matter whether you use the knife 10 times or use it 1 time. I'm saying each time when it's not necessary is equally wrong.
Is incremental, right?
Yeah, but you can. But my only thing is that you and people who are watching can choose to change. It's like how I feel. I'll tell you. I'm not here to, by the way, again, making very clear. I'm not here to inviting you so I can bash you or anything.
The thing is, for example, the whole Israel thing, the whole Palestine thing. There are some people who believe that probably the Muslim religion, they are problematic, but then here they are killing children. That is wrong. You can condemn this by also believing that. I'll probably contest both of these facts, but if they're doing this, I wouldn't go to them and be like, oh, you also have Islamophobic beliefs, you have to change that. I'll be like, a win is a win, right? But what you guys are saying, you either be a vegan completely or you don't be a vegan at all. That is,
Yeah, because we have 2 terms, right? Vegan, non-vegan. We have those who do not exploit animals and those who exploit animals.
That's a very binary approach to
because it is binary. It's life or death, right? It's slavery or not slavery. It's shackles and chains or not shackles and chains.
Okay, let me put it very simple.
I feel for some reason, I don't know why you again keep saying that there's a difference between influencing and consumption when I am making the distinction very clear to you. No, let me make a point. Even if all forms of advertising and influencing of consuming animal products is removed from earth tomorrow, animal exploitation still takes place. If the influence is still there for some awkward reason, just randomly there, but everyone is vegan, the exploitation stops. Because people choosing to buy and eat is what creates the demand. When you spoke about capitalism, bro, it's about demand, supply and demand. You're the one demanding it.
Yeah, see, what I'm saying is, say for instance, why did you get me on here? You didn't get me on here because I am personally a non-vegan. You got me on here because I am personally a non-vegan, plus I have influence. If I did not have the influence part, you wouldn't be talking to me in the first place, right?
I have I have totally 21 podcasts planned. Of influence is only just 4 or 5. The remaining
why did you choose to have the bigger influencers by paying them money and all? You got them because you feel these guys have influence.
Yes.
If I can convert him to be a vegan, and he also starts talking about veganism.
No need to talk about veganism. I never said that. I have made very
I'm saying, for instance, ideally, if I were a vegan and I want you to help our movement, ideally what I would try to do in my best interest is to get you to be vegan.
Yes, again, I want you to be vegan because exploiting animals is immoral. I do not want you to be an activist of veganism. Lakhshya can continue being
See, the thing is...
But you are portraying me wrongly.
I'm not portraying you anything. I'm saying, if I were you, I would want the other person to also be a vegan advocate.
But I don't want that because it's not logical.
Tell me this, okay? Say for instance, I don't become vegan, I become vegetarian. Okay. Is that better?
No, because vegetarian is a diet. Vegan is completely different.
No. See, in terms for the animals don't give a if what you believe in, it's the actions, right? And in terms of actions, a vegetarian does less harm compared to a non-vegetarian, correct?
Not necessarily.
This is now.
Can I be honest and tell you why? Let's say, for example, there is someone. Can I just give a hypothetical example?
Yeah.
Let's say there is someone right now who eats plenty of mutton or beef. Okay, they used to get the protein, they work out and stuff.
Yeah.
Suddenly they feel like, you know what? I don't want to eat meat because we're slaughtering animals. I want to get my protein from eggs and say stuff like milk.
Indian vegetarian, pure vegetarian.
They do not. They consume only dairy, but they are still doing a very immoral act because in their mindset they still view animals as
The quantum of damage is different,
why
right?
I'm taking an abolitionist approach. I'm not basing it based on numbers. That's very immoral. I cannot see. Look, here's the thing. If there is a terrorist, hypothetically, he is saying, I'll either kill all 50 people or I will kill only 40 people. Of course, the example where he kills 40 people is better and leaves 10 alive. But dude, killing people is fundamentally wrong.
See, I think this is where we differ in terms
Is killing people fundamentally wrong? Yes.
Yeah.
Similarly, I am saying exploiting animals is fundamentally wrong.
See, the thing is,
But do you understand why when I am saying something is fundamentally wrong, how can I ask for its reduction? Or how can I ask for praise someone for having reduced or moving from one form of exploitation to another?
you don't have to praise me, but it is in the interest of the animals if I were a vegetarian rather than a non-vegetarian.
But why, if you had genuine concern about animals, why would you now think that exploiting some species in some way is wrong, but this cows and buffaloes in this way is okay?
Look, I'll tell you.
How do you rationalize that?
For instance, animals are dying. Chickens are dying. Cows
being killed.
Yeah. Okay, terminology. If I were a vegan and I hired a non-vegan person, influencer with audience. Now, if I try to convince him to be a vegetarian, probably vegan tak I don't have that push, but I convince him to be a vegetarian, I will take that as a win. Because the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, no matter you're being Puritan or not, the chickens are getting saved. And not just that he's being a vegetarian, he'll probably advocate for vegetarianism. Chicken lives are to getting saved na. So if you're getting a win, take the win. Why are you like, nahi, chicken ke saath saath isko bhi rokna hai, otherwise you're bad?
Because that is the truth, right? Because if I am saying if my message was, let's reduce the amount
you don't have to be like, you're a good person because you're a vegetarian. But in the grand scheme of things, a vegetarian does less damage than a non-vegetarian.
Yes, just like how a terrorist who kills only 40 people instead of 50 does less damage, but a terrorist is still a terrorist, and I don't want humans to be terrorists.
But I would pick, if I had to pick.
But that's the beauty. Thank you, Lakhshya. Thank you so much. That's the beauty. You can choose to be a vegan. You can choose to be a vegan. That's the whole point. Again. That's the point. If only you could do so much, fair enough. I can't say anything to you. But you can choose to eat only plant-based food and wear only plant-based clothing. You have that. Those who have the privilege of having 100 to 120 rupees a day, we have that option. And I can talk about nutrition if you want later at length. We can go about that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you know what? You probably already know the nutrition stuff. I don't need to teach you any of that. We're here to talk more about philosophy and ethics. But the point is that when you can choose to do that, why not?
See, what for me, again, same looks like that Gaza.
But didn't I already break that example by showing you how it doesn't make any sense, both comparisons?
No, the thing is, the magnitude is a lot different.
By magnitude, you mean, can you expand upon that? What do you mean by magnitude? Like,
say for instance, I'm doing like a fundraiser for Israel. I'll donate to the Israeli military or something like that. That is one thing. Say for example, me buying a Coke and considering the fact lack of options, we don't have a Diet Coke alternative or something. Given that cultural context, I buy a Diet Coke. I go to a cafe. I don't want to have sugar. I want to have something sugarless, and they don't have anything except a Diet Coke. And me choosing to buy a Diet Coke, in that thing, I wouldn't like call myself like a terrorist because, by doing that, you killed these many Gazan children. Similarly, for example, if meat consumption is bad and if it is causing animal exploitation, the preferable thing would be, okay, reduce it. Probably if chicken exploitation is bad and that being farmed, probably eating fish would be better or something like that. Probably if milk, dairy is causing this exploitation, would probably prefer having almond milk. And if, for instance, whey protein is bad, I'll have something like a soy protein, pea protein or something. So those lifestyle choices in a more incremental fashion would be far more convincing than, probably labeling someone that you're not a vegan, like not a pure 100% vegan, therefore you're an inferior person.
When did I use the word inferior, Lakhshya? That is so wrong of you.
Okay. Let me
why would that even, when have I ever behaved in such a way?
Okay.
Why did that way fly out of your mouth, bro?
Okay. That's a logical extension of what you said, right?
That is so. I have never said that.
Isn't that not the logical extension of what you were saying?
No.
Okay. Let.
So that is. I feel I'm a bit taken aback. When did I ever talk to you or anybody like that?
I'm not like that. I'm not saying that like that. Okay. For example, two people are there. One actively exploits animals. The other does not. Are they both the same?
No, they
Why?
are not the same.
One is better than the other, right?
The one is violent.
Yeah. Though the non-violent one is better than the violent one, right?
This one is immoral, that one is moral. If you see, when we use the word better, I want to be very careful because again, I know I'm talking to someone who speaks against casteism.
Let us put caste aside here. I mean, in general.
No, because see, in this country, I am actually very careful with my words, Lakhshya, because I know in this country how
philosophical discussion don't have to look at the caste context.
But people would. So can I just explain for the people's sake what I'm trying to mean here?
Here I get it. Like people, philosophical discussion, purely philosophical.
Yes, I'm not trying to say that one human being, because they are vegan, they deserve more rights or this one is inferior rights. No. I am not at all speaking in that context.
But see, the thing with morality is hierarchical, right? A moral person is superior to an immoral person. That's basic philosophy.
Right.
Yeah.
But it, again, see, no, wait. Lakhshya, let's let me make this. We'll talk about, is the vegan more moral? I've noted this down here. Okay, we're going to talk about this, but before that, I want to just conclude one last thing we were going on, because if we could, I want to make sure that this example, this example never comes up again, and that's the example constantly you're bringing up, where you compare supporting of Starbucks or Coca-Cola companies to what's happening in the genocide in Gaza, as opposed to a person being vegan and then choosing to not support the meat, dairy, and egg industries. I've already at multiple times completely dismantled that argument, but you keep bringing it up. So I want to dismantle it one more time, and I want you, after I've done dismantling it, to prove me where I am wrong.
Okay, sure.
And if I am not wrong, please do not bring up the example again. Is that a fair request?
Okay,
fine. If tomorrow Starbucks or Coke or any of those companies that happen to be supporting Israel or anything that how they get money happen to go under, guess what will happen? That does not end the war at all, because that war is not based on mere funding from them alone. It's based on a much larger level. Whereas I made the clear statement that if tomorrow everyone decides to stop buying meat, dairy, eggs and honey, decides to stop wearing leather, wool and silk, and has the mindset that animals are not inferior, the meat, dairy and egg industries would be abolished. Is that a true or false statement?
Again, here also.
Yes or no? Is that a true or false statement? If everyone decides to go vegan, this industry will be abolished.
Yeah, even this also, again, I think you're changing the root argument here. What I'm saying.
Explain.
Here, say for instance, if everyone believes the genocide is bad, genocide will stop.
I did not make that statement, but that is not the argument I made.
A different statement.
You kept comparing about supporting those industries with your money for just the 40 rupees Coke. That was your argument.
Yeah.
I am saying if those two industries tomorrow go under, the war there still continues. Whereas if we all decide to stop buying meat, dairy, eggs and honey, stop wearing leather, wool and silk, these industries are abolished. Because that war is not dependent on these two industries, whereas these industries that exploit animals exist only because we pay them money. The individual customer.
I think you're missing the root here. Okay. Say for instance, you are saying we should not consume meat, because these industries are exploitative. But then mere ek khane se nahi khane se kuch nahi, right? Even if I personally don't consume or
what
not
does it
consume.
mean, mere khane se kuch nahi?
One person is there. If I as an individual choose to consume, not to consume, it will only change my own this, right?
Yeah.
Even in this case, it's just individual, right?
Yeah, but so you are now talking from an individual perspective. Instead of from a collective perspective. Okay, go on.
So from an individual perspective, here in the large scheme of things, doesn't matter. Here in the large scheme of things, doesn't matter. Right? The magnitude is very tiny. However, we are like, okay, from a moral place, we should collectively change. Right?
No, that's where I disagree. From an individual perspective like that, it doesn't matter. But let's say that individual perspective is now taken forth for the sake of example. We have to how else do we equate these things, right?
I'll tell you two things, right? Here, in that Coca-Cola example, there are two things. One, believing the genocide is bad, and the other, consuming Coke. Right? Say for instance, how do I put it? You can believe the genocide is bad and also consume Coke, and it's still okay in a lot of instances.
I am not sure how to argue on that. I'll leave that to the experts who are on that issue.
And in this issue, say for instance, I have a relative family. I haven't talked to them or something in a lot of time, and I go to their place, and they serve me paneer or something. And in that social gathering place, me if they don't know I'm a vegan or something, and they serve me that, and they'll feel bad if I don't have it. I can have it, right?
No, but again, I still feel, as a vegan, I'd say no, but again, I still don't understand how
Social
that ties
context.
into the example of what I'm giving. I'm saying that in that one example, this industry's collapse does not lead to the end of the war happening there. However, this industry's collapse leads to the end of animal exploitation. There is a clear-cut difference here. Here, you can actually make a difference if everyone chooses to stop supporting it. Here, even if everyone does stop supporting it, that war still goes on.
Here, the end goal is not consumption, right? Here, the end goal is to stop the genocide. Here, if everyone says that Israel is bad, genocide will stop.
Yeah, but the example you gave, that is a different thing. But here, what we're talking about is you compared
action and the cause is what we're.
But
you're saying you're directly going to the cause. Here, you're saying the action and cause wala thing. Right?
We are seeing what repercussions the actions and we do by purchasing have on the world. If your actions here, if they stopped, and even if those companies went under, the war there will still take place. Here,
but the thing is here by consuming, you are contributing to the genocide, right?
I believe so, yes, you are.
And here also you're contributing to the genocide, right?
Yes, you are, yes.
So it's the same.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But there's a difference though. From a moral perspective, it's the same. But let's say what happens if everyone decides to stop contributing here? Does the war stop?
If not just Coke, right? Because it's a collective thing, right? For example, here I'll say, if I'm consuming chicken, buying Coke, consuming chicken. If everyone stops consuming chicken, will animals genocide stop? No, right? Because you consume milk, consume this, consume that. It's all collective.
That's why I said.
And this is all,
but you are now saying collective. You're not just talking about an industry. You're talking about industry plus mindset, right? Here I'm saying if we just stop funding these industries, animal exploitative industry.
Here also, mindset leads to that thing, right?
Yeah, mindset leads to it.
I think both the things are same.
No. So, okay, at this point, if we go beyond on this...
the fundamental difference is, here, we are taking all of animal industry, being vegan. It's like a complete moral perspective.
Yes.
Here, we are talking about a singular action. So if you're comparing singular action of buying Coke, you should also compare it to the singular action of, say, buying chicken or something. That would be fair. What you're doing is you're comparing overall perspective change to an action.
So, but the perspective change is what leads to the action. But
here also perspective change is what leads to the action.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if the action is entirely stopped, there the violence still continues. Here the action is stopped, the violence stops.
No, action of consuming chicken, manlo, buying chicken.
But I did not speak only about chicken.
Right?
That was not
the
my
thing
example.
Is you're buying Coke one thing and you're then comparing it with like the entire animal industry, right?
I am comparing buying of Coke. Again, if I can just say this, we'll wrap this up and move on to this point shortly because I don't want audience to get bored also. The thing is that I am comparing the purchasing of Coke equals to the violence happening in the war. Okay, I am comparing here the purchasing of animal products to the violence happening in...
This is an entire category comparing to one product, right?
Well, if you want, we can put... you said Coke and Starbucks. If you want, you can name 20 other companies. I've seen the logos you're passing around back then, like boycott this industry.
Technically speaking, if all of us collectively decide, people here, people in America and all, to stop buying from Israel-affiliated companies, I think probably the war would stop. Because they'd be geopolitically...
that is true. That is true. Yeah,
that's the same thing, no?
Yeah, it's the same thing. So that means this can be stopped. So the whole point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Both of these things can be stopped if
the individual chooses to change, right?
Yeah, that's not...
That's the whole point. I agree with you.
No. Okay, yeah.
That's the point, yeah.
But then, see, the thing is, if we all collectively stopped all Israeli products ever, consuming Israeli products ever, it will stop. However, how realistic is it is the question.
Yeah, that's where I say veganism is realistic for those who have 100 to 120 rupees a day. That was my only point from the beginning.
Okay, so your argument is that if you have the money, you should try to be a vegan.
You should be a vegan, not try. You should be a vegan. That's my
Where I would differ from you is, animal suffering is bad, but personally what I do is different, but I should advocate that it should be minimized.
No, that would be the equivalent of me right now, exploiting, like I say, if me speaking on behalf of women's rights or some other social justice, and then going back home and misbehaving my wife. You are not taking, you keep saying your personal choice. You are unwilling to be accountable for your actions personally.
Typically in whatever debates happening, debates are based on what you believe in your advocacy, right? Typically, I don't get into, your personal decisions wala thing.
But you have to understand in this particular...
Like for instance, I'll tell you, there was this person, professor. And they, in their personal life, they're a Brahmin, they married a Brahmin. Personal life, would do whatever, right? Typically, one would argue that, arranged marriages, you do it within the same caste. You're in a way perpetrating a caste system.
I saw your video recently.
Perpetrating a caste system. That is true, that but it's personal choice who they want to marry, man. If I go and tell them, sir, you did same caste marriage, that's wrong, I look like a buffoon there, right?
Yeah, but the difference here is that you are killing someone. You are literally paying people to shove rods into their private parts. You are stealing babies from mothers. You are beheading them. when you don't have to. And what I'm saying to say is this. A marriage based on caste, again, do you agree that we can have tiers of wrongness when something is, there are tiers of what's wrong. Of course, a lot of things are wrong in this world. It is one thing for me to call Lakhshya bad words. It's one thing for me to maybe like, Lakhshya, push you away, push you physically, something. That's one thing. It's one thing for me to hire.
You're the one being Puritan, right? You should be a vegan or not a vegan, right? That's the whole standpoint.
But then again, don't you also agree that you make a statement saying people should not be racist, people should not be casteist?
But these are not like binary things. For example, a lot of people say you're a misogynist, the kind of words you use. And probably I live in Delhi, and in my own close circle, I sometimes mistakenly tend to use certain words which are misogynist in root. Like they say, you can beep that or something. So this is like the commonly said
I'll
word.
beep it, don't worry.
Now again, in the large scheme of things, someone who says and someone who's like actively look down on women, like beats them up and something, both of these acts are misogyny.
Yeah.
But it's not comparable, right? You have tiers to it, right?
Absolutely. So on what tier do we draw for stabbing animals in the neck when it's not necessary, for shoving rods into their private parts, for putting them inside cages and locking them up and beating them up, and where do we...
I'll tell you.
Which tier is this?
For example, the tier thing. Say for instance, I can't get someone to be a vegan completely, but I can get them to be a vegetarian. I'd pick the vegetarian thing. Or if it's not vegetarian, probably vegetarian. I'll pick vegetarian over that. So it's tiers, right? Say someone who's a pure carnivore, only eating meat would be like the extreme end of it. And there's like someone who's completely vegan, like 100% vegan would be here. And then somewhere on the spectrum, you'll have vegetarians here, and
I would prefer...
So I would not... So this vegan, non-vegan binary feels very Puritan to me, because even in the caste circles also, it's all spectromatic.
Right, but again, here's where I would prefer then we do not call it as vegan, then we'll call it a plant-based diet, because vegan is a philosophy, it's a mindset. Okay.
But look, again, the whole vegan thing, you say it is a philosophy. Right now it is, but if you look at the etymology of the word, it comes from vegetarian, right?
Yeah, unfortunately it does. I'm completely, if you can watch one of my lectures, right, the opening statement was, I hate the word vegan. I despise
even
it.
The plant-based also seems much more like a vegetarian life
but
choice.
At least when you say plant-based, we're talking only about food. We're aware of that.
Yeah.
But when I say vegan, I'm talking about animal liberation. Let me you know what?
Again,
let's drop the word vegan then.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean,
just use. I know that. See, when you're making a fair argument, I'm agreeing with you completely. Yeah. Vegan sounds stupid. I agree. If I could go back in time, I would throw it in the dustbin. Animal liberation sounds much better. I stand for animal liberation. And my point is...
So in my tier thing, if I had to advocate...
I'm not talking about advocating here, Lakshya.
I am an advocacy. The thing
I agree, but sometimes we...
See, your debate is mostly like, okay, in your personal life, you should be a vegan. Is basically
absolutely.
Yeah. See,
as someone who's an activist, when I go and give lectures in colleges, my aim is to convince the people listening to me to become vegan.
Yeah.
So obviously, when I'm talking to you and when I spoke to the other participants, my aim was not only to talk in general, but also to talk about themselves and bring them over to my side.
I look at it differently. For example, an anti-caste activist, if I'm talking to someone who's some other brand of activism...
Yeah, but that's lack of accountability, bro.
See, the thing is, what is more important? Me going and telling my audience that, hey, look, eating meat is up, reconsider, or me in my personal life being vegan and then shutting up about it completely?
You have to do what's right first and then decide. I told you, helping is optional. Not harming is obligatory. I have been consistent on my point from the beginning.
Here, again, I would disagree on the same thing. If you have a voice, if you have lakhs of people looking up to you...
Okay, let me be point blank ask you a question, Lakhshya. If you found out tomorrow that, let's say, for example, from tomorrow I start sharing posts regarding the suffering of children in Gaza. Okay, I start speaking up against all kinds of human injustices. But you come to find out that Arvind's actually a human trafficker. Okay, would you say to me, bro, be a human trafficker? It's okay, it's your personal choice, but make sure you still speak up against human.
This is the moral Puritanism is what I find problematic, right?
So wait, but you never answered this question though. If you think that is Puritanism or that's crazy in terms of comparison.
Human trafficking, again, like it's a...
What do we do to animals then? We shove them onto lorries and traffic them from one place to another.
I don't personally do that, right?
But you are paying. You're complicit in the violence, Lakhshya. You're complicit in the violence.
Again.
You don't have to be. You don't have to. You have a choice. Maybe other humans being there, but you have a choice. And many others watching, if you have 120 rupees a day, you have a choice. That's my whole point. People don't understand how easy it is to be a vegan. We have a choice.
See, the argument again, if you say certain industries are exploitative,
But I never said that from the beginning, but go on.
Yeah. The animal industry is exploitative. And that exploitation should be reduced. Correct?
No.
As in eliminated, correct?
Can I phrase it in a little slightly better if I can? Animals have moral value. Therefore, animal exploitation is wrong and therefore it should be eliminated.
Elimination is the end goal. And any step towards that is desirable.
I have an abolitionist approach, and that's the only non-hypocritical approach.
See,
you know what an abolitionist approach is,
like
right?
complete end, right?
Yeah.
No. That is your goal, complete end. For us, it will be annihilation of caste, complete end.
Yeah.
Now, there could be certain actions which the people doing it might not believe in the same stance as I do, might not believe in annihilation of caste.
Right.
However, it is taking it in that direction.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would pick that over someone like, oh, you're a Puritan or not.
Okay, let me answer that, and then I want to just get back to this because I think we have somehow this flew under the radar for us with tears of cruelty. By the way, but I want to say something. Thank you for coming here. I am really appreciative of you being here and openly talking about this to me. You could have chosen not to come, but I really respect for you having chosen to come. What I wanted to say was, and every time I say that, I seem to forget my train of thought. Before Tears of Cruelty, you were right now talking about steps that we could take along the way. No, and I'll tell you why. Why as an abolitionist? This is like someone saying to me, number one, let's have racist joke-free Monday. Have you heard of meatless Mondays?
Yeah.
That's like saying let's have racist joke-free Mondays. Let's have misogyny-free Tuesdays. Okay. No, I don't advocate for that. Okay, because I think if something
misogyny is happening 7 days a week.
Thank you.
And if it is happening 7 days a week, and if you can reduce it by 1 day, I'd still take it over nothing.
Listen, now that's where here's my point. Now, as
you're going for all or nothing approach is what I'm saying.
Not. You are wrong.
You are going for all. You're like, you are a vegan or you're not at all. It doesn't really matter.
And I did not say those words. Lakhshya.
But that's what it is, right?
I understand you might
you're
think
vegan or you're animal trafficker or whatever is the thing.
Yeah, I stand by that statement.
Again, this feels hypocritical, right? Here, you're all or nothing approach.
No, here's what I'll tell you. See, when I have been doing this right now, and I hope I'm not trying to by any means say that your messages don't have value because you are not a vegan or you don't know how activism is, but I hope in comparison to both our experiences and how effective animal advocacy can be done, I hope you will agree that I have more experience than you in that regard.
Yeah, because that's what you do.
Similarly, like how you will have more experience in the human rights regard than me, I have in the animal rights regard more than you.
Yeah.
As someone who's been actively involved in this movement literally 24/7, and you asked me, why don't you post a story about this? When I am literally every waking minute of my life for the past 9 years, been living and breathing and doing nothing else but speaking up for animals, I want to say that I have given my message as an abolitionist message. Now, someone might hear and say, like, you know what, I agree with Arvind says, but I don't think I can be a vegan.
No.
Hold up. Let me finish.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think I'm going to be vegan at least 3 days a week. They might make that decision and they might go along with it. And people have even emailed me and even DM me saying such things. And of course, when they come to me and say that, I say, I'm first of all glad to hear that you're open-minded. I'm glad to hear that you're willing to make a change instead of saying stupid things like plants feel pain, I can't get protein. That's the
bullshit. They don't have nervous system.
Yeah. So in at least you're being honest. In that regard, I respect that. Now can we try to move it to 7 days a week is how I communicated that.
Yeah.
Wait, but notice that my message was always go vegan. Even though my message was go vegan, this individual decided to apply that in their personal life, particularly in a different
3-day fashion.
In a particular fashion, right? But if my message is already only a reducitarian message, then they will never reach the end goal. See, I have to be a vehement, aggressive, and like you can say, if you want to call it Puritarian, go ahead. A Puritarian in my approach, but regardless, that still has a positive effect in different ways. And I'm not denying that positive effect.
Okay. Fair. So you taking a Puritan approach is more of an advocacy thing rather than this. Fair. I think that is fair. That is what Dr. Ambedkar did with regards to caste. It's like, abolition, like, we need annihilation, but then people met him somewhere in between.
But you need that one crazy guy going out there saying that, else you won't.
Okay, that is fair now.
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah. So you choose to be that one. Okay.
And not only I choose to be that guy, if anyone, how are vegans also advocating for meat-free Monday, I roast them, just saying, by the way. I fight with vegans. I do. You know whom I fight with more than even non-vegans? There are these people.
Okay, here I would be the devil's advocate and tell you.
Go on.
In, say, the population, probably say 30-40% would agree with you, that they would agree with your approach and that would transform them. But there'd be some 10% population who would need that kind of activism to work for them.
True.
And if that gets 10% of people, which you might not convince, but they convince to get meatless, still a win, right?
Not necessarily. Because
they have their own space in the activism.
No, because again, I am not. They do. See, I cannot tell anyone not to say or speak something. In the end of the day, somebody wants to speak. For example, like somebody says, you know what, screw Arvind, eat meat, they have the right to say that. If someone says screw Arvind, just do meatless Mondays, they have the right to say it. I can't stop them from saying it. But from a logical perspective, in every other social justice scenario, we will not take a reducitarian approach. We will take only an abolitionist approach. Okay. And my point is that as if you say if something is immoral.
In a certain advocacy group, what I would say is there would be, again, few people who would be like complete abolition, some people who would take a reductionary approach. Because if you're, in my experience, at least in my way, you have to, in a lot of ways, concede to the other person's the sentimentalities and slowly try to get you to them. Because for a large chunk of the population, if your idea is too far away from the cultural mainstream, like how veganism is.
Oh, very much.
Philosophically, you could be, guys are mostly on the right, but in cultural understanding, you guys are seen as
crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, fair enough.
In that kind of a situation, you'll need someone in the space to have that conciliatory approach. I think each kind of activism has its own...
But that's why I said, even though I am giving an abolitionist message, those who want to reduce will reduce either way. They are going to reduce regardless of whether I give a reduced message or not. So
I think for me personally, like I was a lot sympathetic to vegans when I was a friend of mine, she's a vegan. And I wasn't a political yet. I wasn't in the public sphere. And she was like, she had a rule that if we are going out, we should have vegan food. I was like, fair enough. I don't know how it will taste because I didn't know anything yet about it. We went and we had, and she was telling me that, these things are bad. And so I was like, okay, fair enough. It seems fair. And then she kind of like sometimes used to share vegan content and like, animals suffer this. I was like, yeah, I understand. I was a lot open to it. But
you didn't change.
I was sympathetic. I was looking into it.
Didn't change.
The perspective was, I was I was open to it, right? I was open more in the dialogue, but then I moved to a different city and we couldn't talk much after that. I probably would have become, because I think my sister, she turned a vegan and she became vegetarian, whatever, I don't know, whatever the story is. But this person, I was open to it. I was very sympathetic. And I looked towards vegan as someone who had moral this. They were standing up for what is right, and I had a positive approach to them. Like had positive sentimentality.
I can't believe Lakhshya speaks is saying this. Like the dude that literally goes in there to fight against. Like when you speak up for humans, I speak the same way you speak for humans.
For example, say Jay Deepak, right, Tamilian guy.
Okay.
Right winger. Politically, we have billion disagreements. But if I have an agreement with him, I'll take the W.
And I also agree with you probably on 99% or 95 to 99% of things.
But the thing is, what you might agree with me on 99% things, but for me, I see those agreements
as meaningless.
Because you don't advocate for them, right? Then doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But that's where, because I have a strong opinion which you keep rejecting, that helping is optional, not harming is obligatory. From that perspective, what I'm doing makes complete sense.
This is where again
you disagree clearly. I don't agree. I guess we just don't agree on this. And when you are saying about your friend right now who you guys been
and what I'll tell you is that the recent, I think a year ago or what, so many vegan pages all straight up came up to me, and it's not like, hey, look at our side. It was more like, no, you're a bad person, you'll have to change.
Yeah, see, social media, bro. Here's the thing. I look, okay, fine. You know what? You have the right to complain about that. Okay, I'm not gonna hear and.
The thing is, see, on the large area of things in terms of principles, we are on the same side of oppression is bad, right? We are on the same side that we should care about things beyond us in many ways, right?
No, I guess I'm different from you. No, I don't say that.
As in the vegan space, the sentimentalities, at least the philosophical underpinnings are similar.
Actually, no, because we are disagreeing at one very, very fundamental level in the beginning itself. That is, I am saying we are accountable for our actions, but you are not agreeing with that. Because if I am not being racist, misogynist, or whatever other kind of problematic things to other human beings, Arvind is never going to behave that way towards another human being. That doesn't now solve the issue. The issue is still because there are other horrible people like Lakhshya come to the helm and they take it forward and try to, completely dismantle such violence and injustice happening in society. But Arvind is not a contributor there. He's also not a contributor for animal exploitation either, but he chooses personally to speak about animals because he has some kind of affinity towards animals. It's just his feelings as a human being. He's just wired that way. Now, Lakhshya speaks up wonderfully for human beings, but he's an active animal exploiter and he is not...
In his personal life.
Why does it matter if it's in your... Bro, can I say I'm a domestic abuser and it's my personal life? What kind of things? You are literally... force impregnating, torturing and killing and mutilating these animals. And then you're saying it's your personal life? What is this?
Say for example, I'll give you this.
How does the personal life...
Okay, two things, okay? One is that the whole Gaza drink example, right?
But let's bury that, bro. For some reason, we don't seem to be agreeing on that. We've tried speaking out multiple times. Can we just bury that example? Because I feel like we're not going anywhere with that example. Can we, maybe some other example you can provide me?
Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay.
Martin Luther King Jr. was a womanizer. He had multiple sexual partners. He used to go to prostitutes. He turned on his wife. But that doesn't take away even a bit from this actual work he has done, right?
Of course it doesn't.
Yeah. Similarly, here, when a person is doing work, them, what they do in their private personal life, I don't think that takes away, unless they're a or something.
Yeah, but see, Martin Luther King Jr. was not a though.
Yeah.
Now, if he was doing something as immoral as that, then I don't think we can call him as a hero or anything, right?
Yeah.
Because we draw a line. But non-vegans freaking pay people to animals. We forcefully make, you know what? Let's just do one thing, Lakhshya. Just have me. I want to show you if I can. If I can just pick this up properly. If you could just describe to me as to what you see in this picture.
See, I agree with you that animal suffering is immoral. As seen here.
No, but what are we literally doing to them? You just
I'm not disputing that at all.
Could you describe them if it's already with you? If you don't want to, you just say no need.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think they're like trying to them or something with like artificial.
They're literally, dude, they're literally
Inseminating,
they're jacking off a bull, taking the semen and shoving it into the rear end of it. They're literally shoving into the cloaca because a bird doesn't have necessarily an anus or a vagina. They have only one hole, and they're shoving that.
Not like
female pigs.
Yeah, it's disturbing. We don't have.
Yeah, we don't have to look at it. Fair enough. But my point is, so do you agree that if you are a non-vegan, you are paying for animal breeding to happen, because without animal breeding, you can't get meat, dairy, and eggs. So if just like how if Martin Luther King was a no, that does bring him down.
No, he's not a
if he was, that does bring him down. Similarly, if you are a non-vegan, you are freaking paying people to shove rods into female animals' private parts, and that's extremely wrong. Stop it. What part of this do you not understand?
Let me give you like a more, I would say, moderate sort of a reason. Do you use a phone?
I do use a phone, yes.
The lithium in those phones and the whole mining which happens, they use child labor, and it's very exploitative. Does that make you someone who supports child labor?
I would say the right answer would be to say, yeah, it does.
So, isn't a vegan about like not causing that harm?
Yeah, in that regard, yes, I am someone in this modern day and age who does use cell phones, and because I guess at this point, I'm not like I can give you justifications, but whatever it is, the negative claim you wish to throw at me, if this
again, I don't want to make a personal attack, but I'm just
not a personal attack. It's a description you're giving at me.
Yeah.
If what you're saying is true, if the chips that I am using have come from that, is there a way to verify for us to verify that? By the way,
I think,
or is it like, because for example,
I think all the companies do it. That's the problem, right?
I'm not exactly sure about that, because
lithium mining, where it happens, there are like 2 or 3 bigger producers who do it. It happens in certain mines in certain African countries, and he say everything comes because the fixed locations where we find those things, and every company buys from there only because they're like barely 2 or 3 producers, right? So in that sense, you can make the argument that there's no alternative.
Yeah, but that's still, I will take the bullet on that. You are right. If you want to call me that, I will take the bullet on that. I will not try to escape from that. Yeah.
The thing is, just because you did it, I wouldn't call like you support child labor and you are responsible for that or something, right? Because things are complex.
It's not just because things. I would not say that because things are complex. The only excuse, again, I want to be very clear, because look, I'll be very honest, man. As someone who sees animal violence, I understand that humans suffer the same way. Usually it's the inverse, but I understand that. I will never ever be a part of something that is violent and then try to justify myself. If you were to say, Arvind, you're taking part in exploitation that way, I'll own up to it. You're right. You have the right to say that to me. The only difference I can probably say, if it's even valid, is that it is possible to mine where those children need not be exploited. Like
Correct.
The system can, but in regards to producing meat, dairy, and eggs, you cannot do it without exploiting it. That's impossible.
I mean, artificial meat, I think they're coming up with that, right? Which doesn't cost.
If that shows up tomorrow, I have zero problems. Right?
Same, zero problems.
But no, you should have a problem right now when this is happening to animals. That's my problem. That's my issue with you. Like you and everybody else watching should have an issue. We are literally R-wording them. We are them. We are doing that to them. And when you give that example about Martin Luther King, you give that example to say just because he has done a few things that we could label as immoral doesn't make you cannot erase the positive he has done. And I will never erase the positive that Lakhshya has contributed for this world because he's a non-vegan. I will never say that, nor have I ever said that. I will not say that, okay? However, that's why we were talking earlier about tiers of cruelty. I was saying there are different tiers right now. One is, I am telling you, is me calling Lakhshya a bad word. That's not right. It's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. I can say make a racist remark. That's very, very wrong though. That's one tier. Second tier is again like me shoving him or pushing him or just bullying him or intimidating him. That's also wrong. Last is hiring someone to kill him or torture him and his family or set him on fire or some crazy crap. when it comes to, these are the 3 tiers we have. When it comes to meat, dairy and eggs, on which tier do they fall here, Lakshya?
See, my fundamental here distinction is that I differentiate between animal cruelty and human cruelty.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Okay. But so you would not put that in any of these tiers, by the way, just asking. Like,
No. I would say for example, animal suffering, if compared to human suffering, I'd say human suffering is worse. And I would obviously pedestal humans over animals.
You actually can do that, and I do not have an issue with you doing that.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue, which is why I never told you to fight for animals. I do not have an issue with you doing that. I have an issue if you choose to pedestal them over your culture, your tradition, or your taste buds when you have 100 to 120 rupees a day. That's my only complaint, nothing else. I do not have any other issues to say to you regarding that.
See, the thing is, say we have a product in the market as a phone which uses the thing, child mining is not involved. But then that phone doesn't work as well as the other phone, or doesn't have the same features, and not a lot of people know about it. There's accessibility issues. If all these factors come into play, and a lot of people by default buy a that wala phone, it's not really straightforward as saying, oh, if you buy the normal one phone, you actively support the child miners there, right? It's a much more sophisticated argument. I think the whole thing with the vegan thing,
I would agree with that argument. I would agree with that argument. Yeah.
So
you are supporting child.
The same vegan thing, a lot of people who are consuming meat and all, it's very culturally ingrained sort of a thing. And I'm not talking about like me personally here in general. Look, if you question my personal sensibility, probably I'll reconsider. I'll be like, okay, animals, I should probably not consume meat or something. See, again, from my point of view, as influencers, as someone with a voice, what we do privately से बहुत ज़्यादा important is what we advocate, because what we advocate reaches millions of people. It's going to influence millions of people.
What if what we do privately is so wrong? What if it's so wrong? Like, you weren't even able to describe what's happening here. It's
I'll tell you.
But what you're doing privately is this wrong, bro. It's like it's up.
Again, difference. It's not like I'm the cow, right?
You are, but you're paying someone to. You can choose to stop.
It's the same like, saying that you bought an iPhone, therefore you're paying a child to do the child labor.
Right. But here's where...
But the thing is, the systems we live in, they live in such a way.
And you're right. I'm not going to deny that. Again, I'm telling you
probably a lot of products we buy from, say, China or something, probably built by child labor. We never know.
Sweatshops. I completely agree. And if there's someone out there, or even Lakhshya, could guide me
and there are companies out there who do, non-sweatshop, ethical production, ethical capitalism. But they don't go, they can technically go around saying, look, if you don't buy from us, you are supporting, exploitation.
Yes, they can. And I want to make a statement on camera right now, Lakhshya, to the audience and to you. If you can show me right now what and all choices I can make, where right now you feel...
Look, honestly, I don't know.
Okay, so let's learn. Maybe in the comment section, please let us know. If someone can tell me, for example, if I buy this particular product, from a particular company that we know for a fact does exploit human beings, and you can give me an alternative, even if it's a little bit more expensive, I am privileged enough to make that choice. I will make that choice. Because just like how I don't want to harm animals, I don't want to harm humans. Because if I wouldn't want someone to be breaking my back and whipping me to do something. I should not be paying money for that. And what you say, hope you can see it in my face and my eyes, I really mean it, okay? Because suffering is suffering for everybody. And you have every right to call that out to me right now, and I will concede and agree to that, because you are right if you make the statement. But the difference here I want to say is that only one thing. When it comes to veganism, we vegans have already spent the time to map this out. So if you are saying, how do I move from this to this? I can tell you exactly how to move. It's an effortless switch.
I don't think it's effortless, I would say.
Fair enough. It's not be effortless. By effortless, I mean, you wouldn't have to go searching for options or go online to search, how do I get protein now? How do I get calcium if I don't drink milk? We have done the research for you. We have presented it on a golden platter. And you know what, Lakshya? Let me tell you something. If ever in this podcast of here right now, I had said anything to offend you, or you if I had said anything that made you feel like, this guy's kind of going a bit too harsh on me, did he just bring me for this? I want to say wholeheartedly,
that's fair enough.
I apologize, because I never want to make veganism about me. It's about the animals. It has nothing to do with me. I am worthless. I mean nothing. I request of you to only reconsider your choices based on the facts I have given, and consider to please become a vegan only for the animals. And if you want to make that shift, that switch, we vegans can guide you.
See, again,
effortlessly.
The thing is,
which you said you can't right now, because even you don't know which products I am buying right now and what to alternate with. Say my phone, my clothing,
and I'm not
whatever.
See, I acknowledge that those things are happening, that child labor is used and all. But then I don't spend like this advocating for those things. I don't know.
Fair enough, but somebody...
Something that are larger structural problems, okay?
But you actually hit a chord in me right now. I don't know if you know this. Like, I feel I should change. I should go back and check everything I've bought.
See, brother, I think the fundamental difference between you and me is that, for example, this mattered to you a lot more than me telling you, hey, look, you have a voice, you have influence, you should advocate for these issues. I would be much more thankful if someone from the vegan who has an influential platform uses that platform to spread other messages about human suffering. Because
that's how the world goes bad. That's how the world. That's what
I think that's hyperbolic.
No, can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because once again, it's individuals not taking accountability for their actions and just saying we're wearing an imaginary halo.
No. See. See, just because you share, say, a Gaza post doesn't. Like, I'm not saying that, you shared it, therefore, you get a halo or something. No. This is something bare minimum, I would say. If you have a platform and there's active oppression happening, be it women, be it Dalit communities or Palestinian, whatever, genocide, it is your duty to share.
No, and I'll tell you one thing. If tomorrow, let's say hypothetically, I get cancer or I get in an accident, I will do a fundraiser for animals. I will not take 1 paisa for myself.
Why?
Because my platform is meant to speak up only for animals. That's why I made my platform. It's not for me or for humans or anybody else.
Say, for example, you get cancer and you're probably dying in a year.
Yeah.
Compared to you do a fundraiser for yourself, you cure that cancer and you live for 20 other years. 20 other years of activism probably will change 20,000 more people, right?
My point was not that. My point was that my platform is not for human beings. My platform is the platform that I am using right now, Arvind, animal activists and different, that is meant for animals, and that is the most abused and oppressed group of animals, farmed animals. It's for them.
That again, this becomes the larger problem because a platform of this size is only choosing to speak about animals, which is, look, I'm not saying speaking about animals is wrong at all.
But they are the most marginalized. You agree? They are the most abused, the most number of exploitation.
But that doesn't mean other oppressions.
It doesn't mean that. But to me, it does. To me personally, it does.
How do you mean? Like if
for me, yes, there is various different cruelty happening on earth. But this is what emotionally affected me personally the most.
Okay, I'll give you
an
example. For example, all of people in Gaza are vegan. Would you then put a post?
No, I will not.
Why?
I told you my platform is meant for speaking against the most, for the most marginalized, the most abused.
Either or, right? You can focus on a core, the crux, and then also...
Because be it my time in life, I have only 24 hours a day. From what I understand of how the algorithms work and how everything...
I don't think it's the algorithm. Because I share about a lot of things. I don't think it doesn't matter in the algorithm. But probably like 5% maybe. I don't think that's...
I am very calculative and very particular. And I am saying, like, this is like, you also asked, what about Karna Foundation? They are funding for animals, but not even for people. You have the right to make that statement because you are shocked, and that's a fair statement you're making.
Because I don't see similarly funded organizations putting money into, say, that.
Yeah, and I am being very honest with you. If I were a millionaire or billionaire right now, all my money will be only going towards animals. It will not be going towards humans.
Again, this is what I feel. Is it lack of empathy towards
if I had lack of empathy towards humans, Lakhshya, I would be a human abuser. I am not.
Again, see.
The fundamental disagreement again.
Yeah. So if for instance, you had the time and money to advocate for a certain human group who are suffering without compromising on anything else, would you do that?
If I had the time and money to compromise, but how would it not be? If I could not compromise, then hell yeah, yes, I would, yes.
So
if
basically
I could not compromise.
What you're saying is, for you, in your worldview, animal suffering takes precedence over all other types of suffering.
Yes, exactly, pretty much, yes. So,
even if you had $1 million, you would put all of it into animal rights and not say a Gaza or say a Dalit community or say women or say anything.
Yes, you are right.
Okay.
But let me just let people also know, I am not the crazy one. I am not the crazy one here. The crazy one are the people who go around exploiting animals but not exploiting humans, and then expect those who are neither exploiting humans nor animals to speak up for humans. Those are the crazy ones. I am not crazy for taking a stance where I'll help only animals, Lakhshya. I am not crazy. I respectfully disagree.
Yeah, I think that's the fundamental this, because we look at suffering in tiers, and we would rather focus on human suffering. And then I'm not saying those working for animal suffering are wrong people or this.
But I am saying you can focus
I am not invalidating your activism, but it's happening the other way around, right?
I am invalidating your human rights activism, Lakhshya?
No. I'm not saying that kind of thing. But what you're basically saying is that, if you're, basically the phraseology used, like killing, raping animals, and then you care about humans, you're guys are being hypocritical.
Yes, and that's wrong. That's an incorrect statement.
Then conversely, we would say, if you don't care about children getting mutilated, if you don't care about
am I the mutilator or am I paying for the mutilation?
By not talking about it, while having a platform, you are in a way supporting it, right?
But no.
You're not supporting it, but you...
There's one statement that always goes around, even the vegan community, I hate it. They say, if you are something like, if there's violence happening in front of you and you are a witness, you are also taking the side of the abuser. Something.
Yeah.
I think that's a bull statement, honestly.
For us now, for example, it's not enough to be, say, an anti-racist, to be not a racist, you should actively be an anti-racist, right?
Then
and especially, say for instance, you, if you have a voice and you come from a certain privileged caste background, it is imperative that you also talk about the whole caste issue, because you are again, in a way, getting the privileges which come from being in a certain caste.
Absolutely, I'm not denying any of that. I probably wouldn't be able to do the activism I do right now with this much effectiveness. It's because I have so much privilege in my background. I'm using the youth. I acknowledge that privilege, and I want to use that privilege on behalf of the most underprivileged, which happen to be farmed animals. Is that an illogical statement again, I'm asking you?
But then your activism is limited to only one thing. And you're not even looking at any other issue apart from that.
That's what I'm saying, my friend. Your activism is far more, has a far bigger spectrum of reach than mine does. But yet you're still an animal abuser, which makes you, as an individual and everyone like you, actually wrong and immoral.
Hypothetically,
mine,
if I were a vegan and I told you, look, you have to talk about other issues, would you?
No, I would not. There are plenty. Dude, do you think, by the way, just saying, do you think there are not vegans who actually do not talk about animal rights at all, but speak only about human rights issues? You think they don't exist?
What?
Do you think there are not vegans who do not talk about animal rights issues at all, but speak only about human rights issues?
I don't know anyone.
You don't know. Let me tell you something. There are plenty of vegans who are vegan just because they understand exploiting animals is wrong.
I think the Science with Adhira or someone is like that, right?
I'm sorry, who?
Science with Adhira.
I don't know either. I'm not necessarily talking about a content creator. As someone who's been a part of the vegan community for so long, I can assure you with my life, if you think that my words are valid, what I'm saying is that there are plenty of people who are vegans because they recognize that exploiting animals is wrong. They're like, you know what? It's wrong. I'll change. However, my heart is still with helping underprivileged children. My heart is still with educating people from a poorer background. And they spend their time helping only humans. And I don't tell them speak up for animals.
See, the thing is, from your own viewpoint, I would say, if someone is a vegan and they do not advocate for veganism, are they really a vegan?
Hell yeah! Vegan, yes! Lakhshya, what is this? A vegan is someone who does not exploit animals, not someone who speaks up against animal exploitation. That's an activist. I am Arvind, animal activist.
The thing is...
I am an activist for my cause. I am just saying to you, don't be an activist for my cause. Don't even call yourself a vegan. That's not even necessary. Who cares about that? Do not exploit animals anymore, because that is the wrong part. Just because you do some good doesn't now justify the wrong you do.
See, again, here, the whole point of you inviting influencers on is that they have influence, right? If you are able to convince them, you're in a way convincing their audience, in a way getting more people to be vegan. But then...
Forget I don't care about the people being vegan. I'll tell you why. Because just by hearing the reason I'm bringing forth you and other influential people is because just by hearing this conversation, you have given your perspective clearly. I have given mine. Now it's up to them for them to decide who is making sense here. Is Lakhshya making sense or is Arvind making sense? This conversation is all that I wanted. If I could convince you, I'd be in tears right now. I'd be so happy. But again, I cannot force you. I can only talk to you. In the end, when you choose to walk out, you choose to walk out the way you want to walk out. So,
what I find kind of problematic also is that someone born in India, obviously you're a certain upper caste privileged man, got really good education, speak good English, you know how to communicate.
Absolutely.
You have all of that.
Absolutely.
And then you having that privilege, having that platform, having that audience, you are saying, look, again, I'm not agreeing with you at all that you do care for animals, but then you don't talk about anything else at all. Which I find that, look, in a country, I mean, here, the whole Corona Foundation thing, your similar background people who with
absolutely right, you're absolutely right.
They had that much money to conduct a debate on the whole veganism thing. But people who actually talk about human suffering don't find that kind of funding. That kind of disputes that either are animals at the bottom of the barrel, because logically speaking they are, but if animals are at the bottom of the barrel of the oppression chain and technically people shouldn't care about them, then why are people from the top echelons of society churning that much money in?
Yeah, people at the top echelon who are the creme de la creme in terms of social power and financial power, they seem to care about the ones who are at the bottom of the barrel. That does not in any way reduce the amount of discrimination that animals face.
The thing is,
how does this, what you're explaining to me is a fact. I am agreeing to it. What do you wish to conclude upon that fact?
See, the thing is, for example, in the US also, if you look at, say, the black community, you have a lot of black activists. A lot of them are also feminist. In feminist spaces, you'll find a lot of black women. Because as a black person, if you experience racism, you're a lot likely to empathize with women facing sexist or misogynist or whatever. Similarly, in India, anti-caste space, almost all anti-caste activists are feminists. And they do actively talk about feminist issues or share, that's like goes without saying. Even if you go to the whole Muslim activism space, you'll find a lot of overlap between the activisms.
But would their work be valid if they were murderers?
Again, coming back to this point, let me finish. So what I'm saying is, if you understand one pain, then you understand the other pain too. Like understanding one form of suffering makes you more empathetic toward other forms of suffering. And I've seen some people who are also vegan, who have extended this and become vegan, which is great. But
Is
one
that,
thing
again, is that great or is that obligatory?
See,
That's is it great or obligatory? I
don't think it's obligatory to be.
So animal exploitation is all right then. If it's not obligatory, then that means animal exploitation is all right. Is what you're saying?
No. Again, it's very like the whole. I'll get back to the phone thing, right? The whole buying the phone.
No, not the phone, Lakhshya. See, the thing again, what you're stating is, I understand what you mean. Okay, but if we could maybe can we just go back to this because it's still kind of tied with the tears of cruelty.
Let me finish this thing.
Okay.
So the thing is, people coming from a certain exploitation background, they're empathetic toward other forms, other power structures of exploitation, right? There's a huge overlap here in the space. And we understand each other.
It's a very human experience.
Yeah. But when we come to the whole vegan thing, what we see is that the overlap is very minimal.
Okay.
And then the whole funding and the support groups vegans have is mostly from the upper castes. And the same upper castes of funding the whole vegans thing, they do not seem to care about, say, the Gaza thing or the Dalits or the women. And we are like, okay, is this like a privileged activism thing? Because all the vegans I can think of are from very privileged backgrounds, very upper caste backgrounds. And I'm like, brother, like, I don't know, probably care about your fellow human, your maid or something, and then you can care about animals.
So that's what I'm saying again, Lakshya. When you say care about them, I care enough to never be a reason for them to suffer.
Again, see, the thing is...
But you, despite going ahead of... No. That's why I wanted to come back to this, because I'm telling to you, if Lakshya does so much work for human beings, okay, but that would all go down the drain if tomorrow it's found out that Lakshya is a serial killer. Right, that'll kind of go down the drain. Because it's
being a serial killer and being meat, I don't think are the same thing.
My friend, what are we doing to animals? What are we doing to them?
I think before in this, you made the claim that, neither of us is inferior or superior, right?
Yes.
But if I'm a murderer, and you are not, I'm inferior, you are superior, correct?
No.
And it's the same. It's the logical conclusion, right?
I wasn't focusing. I'm sorry. I wasn't focusing. I'm saying. So repeat it again. I wasn't focusing. I'm sorry.
I think before in the conversation, I said, "Oh, you think certain people are inferior, certain superior." And you're like, "No, I didn't mean that."
In what context I didn't mean that? I wanted to phrase that properly, especially having a caste rights activist sitting in front of me. I wanted to can I at least phrase it properly once? I'll feel good. I'll feel better. Then I'll make the statement. Sure. I want to phrase it by saying that in a country in which the caste-based system has wreaked absolute havoc on millions, if not billions of people throughout centuries, that has taken so much basic life and freedom and dignity away from them, when I am here to make a statement saying that you are, what is the word you want to use? Like lower or not lower? What is it?
Inferior.
Inferior, that's very dangerous. Because we have had in this country people who are vegetarians, who do not use meat, use that in a completely different context to take rights away, basic dignity away from human beings. So I am very disturbed to use that word. I want to use my word as you are an immoral human being and I am a moral human being. That's what I want to say. Can you understand why I'm hesitating to make that statement?
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So again, this whole tier thing comes up, right?
Yes.
If moral people are superior, immoral people are inferior, right? Like,
in that sense, yes. In that sense. No,
in that
yes, sir. In that sense, yes.
Right. So again, what the whole vegan thing, at least from the experience or the POV of, say, Dalit activists or something, is that one, typically very privileged people, upper caste people, and typically people who don't talk about other issues, talk about animals. And then the kind of the vegan gaze which comes towards us is the same as the upper caste Brahmanical gaze which we had, that, oh, you eat animals, you guys are like not the moral thing. Right? That's the tonality we get. Not from you, I'm not saying not personally from you, but from the vegan space in general. And it makes it very, very, very difficult for us.
Yeah, it's very bitter in the mouth. I get it. But now I want to ask something. Do you think, however, that comparison is even valid, Lakhshya? Like if we were to go and say something like, how do I state this? Like, if we were to look at people who use vegetarianism as a reasoning to discriminate against other people in the past, did they say to them, you guys eat meat, and if you stopped eating meat, we would therefore give you privileges? Or did they say, you guys eat meat, you are impure, I don't eat meat, I am pure, therefore I deserve rights? Was it the former statement or the latter statement?
No, it was, see, the thing is, they hate us regardless, right?
Yeah, but
this was just a justification.
Which is the statement though they used? The former one? Were they asking people to actively stop eating meat? Or were they using that as a distincting fact?
See, the thing is...
But why won't you answer that, bro?
Listen. The thing is, you try to break things into a binary. That it's either this or either that. Things are much more nuanced.
They are much more nuanced. But in this particular, if I were to give these as hypothetically the only two options...
Like what?
A group in the past is saying, apparently, you guys eat meat? Well, you know what? Just stop eating meat. Then we'll give you the following rights. Apparently, that's one case. Second case is saying that...
Who says like this? Even today, the vegans...
Wait. That's, let me finish, bro.
Yeah.
That is case one. Case two is apparently saying... Oh, you guys eat meat, you know what? You're inferior than us. We are pure. We are better than you. We have more rights. Screw you. Which was the one that's being practiced in the past? This one, right?
Yeah.
Now, when a vegan is making the statement, you know what, bro? I don't even want to get into this superior, inferior caste or any of this crap, okay? I'm coming from a purely animal rights perspective because I have so much empathy for these poor innocent creatures that are suffering. And all I'm saying to you is that you are doing something immoral, and I happen to be a vegan. I can teach you how. You also please become a vegan. The very fact that I want you to do what I do shows that I am not approaching with an intent to distinguish between me and you. Because if I wanted to distinguish, I'd want you to be a meat eater.
See, the thing is, the vegan people who came after me or come after people of our ilk, the tonality they use and the kind of words they use, they don't seem like the ones you explained in this situation, where it's all, you should not harm animals. It's more like, you are because you drink milk, something like that, right? Which is not the same as what you mentioned.
Yeah.
And the tonality coming from someone who's upper caste and they see themselves as, we are better than you because we are vegan. That wala thing. Because again, definitely.
That's where integrity and accountability comes. For example, Lakhshya, like you sometime back just told me.
Tell me something.
You told me sometime back, like Arvind, you use your mobile phone where probably the lithium chips come from there.
Yeah.
Did you for 1 second see me defending myself?
Okay, way I told it is a lot different. I didn't say it in a way that, look, I'm looking down on you. I didn't say it in a way that, look, you use it there for all your vegan activism shit. I didn't say that.
You didn't say that. But did I anyway show any resistance to the truth?
Look, the thing is, it was vegans who tried to invalidate all my activism because, you don't care about animals.
Well, that's bullshit. Your activism is never invalidated because of certain things. It's not happening that way. And even right now, even though I say animal cruelty is so wrong, I am not invalidating it. But my point is, when you pointed out my error, okay, in my way, you won't believe my light bulb went on, and I was like, the dude is right. The dude is absolutely right, number one. And second thing is, I am saying that even if you were rude, if you did you know 3 debates ago, I was debating with someone and he point blank found a flaw in my statement. He told me, Arvind, Google and see if you're right or wrong. I Googled it, I was wrong. I shook his hand and told you, I take back my statement, I am wrong, thank you for teaching me. Because shouldn't that be the attitude we all have always? So even if we are rude or not rude, why does it matter? But if we are wrong,
no. Two things.
Change.
Two things. Okay. One, the way discourse happens on social media, people, it's all over the place. So many comments, so many this. A lot of it is attacks. And second, social context, right? The Dalit community did not have representation in these spaces. Like, how many Dalit activists have you known?
Here's the weird thing I can answer to you. How would I know if I go and don't go and ask someone's caste? I mean, I know thousands of vegans, but
they'll talk about those issues, right? If you see someone talking about those issues, probably they are a Dalit activist, right? Or probably anti-caste activist, have you known?
And quite a lot of vocal ones in our community, yeah.
No, as in like on social media, the bigger ones, right?
The bigger ones? No, the bigger vegan pages are all vegan pages.
No, not vegan. I mean, I'm saying anti-caste activists, like
yourself, you mean?
Yeah.
There are probably quite like you come to mind. I think one girl from Delhi is there. I'm not exactly sure. I forgot her name. It's a short hair or something she has. Like, I even DM'd her and asked her like if she'd want to be on the podcast.
What's her name? I don't know.
I do not know. Yeah. I don't know.
The base point is in the whole sphere of being online, advocating issues. Not a lot of people in our community have been in these spaces. It's very new for us. It's like largely been people of your backgrounds who have occupied it because you had the communication skills and the education and all that, right?
Yeah.
No,
I was lucky.
We are making space there. We are also trying to have our own perspectives and this and that. And then we find a lot of hostility from a certain caste background, like upper caste background. They're like, oh, you're attacking Hinduism, this and that. Now, when a certain upper caste person who happens to be a vegan, they comment something like, oh, you are not a vegan, your activism is this and that. Again, here the thing is, you have to understand the social context here, that what right does an upper caste person have to come and like invalidate a Dalit's activism just because they are not a vegan or something, right? That feels problematic in that context.
Yes.
Especially on social media, especially the tone.
Yes.
Because when, the context would be a lot different if it was, say, a Muslim person or a Dalit person saying the same to me that, hey, look, you talk about Dalits all day, but as a Dalit and you care about suffering, you should also care about animals. If a Dalit person says that, I would take it much more charitably than a certain upper caste person saying it. But then what happens is that the upper caste person who challenged me, and they said it in that tone, and I went to their page, all the people that are following were upper caste, all the vegans they were following, and there's n number of people made reels, all of them from the same background. Then we cannot unsee the caste component here.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because
obvious.
we feel that, oh, you guys are so privileged, you have nothing else to care about, you choose the animals. That is what we look at it like. Because, okay, you choose animals, you advocate, great. But while choosing to advocate for animals, you chose to target who? Someone talking for Dalits. You couldn't target people from your own community. You couldn't target, Sanatani people who are vegetarian.
Vegans target non-vegans. You happen to be a non-vegan, Lakhshya.
Yeah, but non-vegan who?
I have made responses to Sadhguru. I have made responses to Zakir Naik. I have made responses to...
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about...
But my point is this. Any other vegan also, I can just understand different things in social media.
But in these same vegans who were attacking me, I was like, okay, do you acknowledge your caste privilege? You do, which is great, but these people do not. Right? So in many ways, they feel like they're just caste-blind or they don't know and understand the social nuances.
Yes, and you know what? If what you say happens to be true, you are right and they would be in the wrong in that scenario. But that does not justify you choosing to be a non-vegan. You have bitter experience with them.
No.
Because at the end of the day, there is a victim involved here, and the pig and the cow and the chicken and the buffalo do not care about how you feel. They are.
Look.
Which is why I told you I mean nothing in this lecture.
From a philosophical standpoint, I concede to you, being vegan is the moral
obligation.
Yeah, I wouldn't say obligation is I wouldn't use the word obligation. I would say being vegan is moral.
But wait.
And more moral than being non-vegan.
No, but the reason why I want to just focus on that one point, if we can, but we will probably have to wind up in some time now. Why I want to focus on that is because you would agree that being anti-racist is a moral obligation. Me choosing not to kidnap another human being is a moral
obligation. Being anti-racist, if you have an audience, if you're a private person living your own life and then no one listening to you, I don't expect.
But what if I behave in a racist way towards a human being?
Not being racist and being anti-racist are different things.
And then I take my statement back. Let's say I'm not being racist. That's a moral obligation. Not kidnapping, not stealing, not engaging in such things is all what do you call like a moral obligation. Then when all we are doing to animals is literally torturing, slaughtering, beheading, putting them and enslaving.
I concede whatever is
enslaving them, doesn't not doing that become a moral obligation?
Again, here, see, when you say not doing them, you make it sound like I'm the one doing it, right?
But you are equally culpable as you are paying for it, Lakhshya. Just because
it's the same as the mobile phone argument, right? That the whole silicon.
But that's where then we came to the statement that I told you if mobile phones, I would argue, I could be wrong, so correct me if I am, in this modern day and age, to live with a mobile phone would kind of be impossible.
What I concede to you.
But so if you were to tell me, no, Arvind, you can get it, buy it from here, means I'm like, Lakhshya is giving me an alternative, and I don't want to be the reason for some poor child out there to be exploited. I don't want that on me. Therefore, I will make the shift. But similarly, for veganism, I can tell you, bro, instead of eating meat, dairy, eggs, and honey, wearing leather, wool, and silk, just do this. I have the guide literally on my channel. It will teach you everything. You have no reason to reject it.
See, two things, okay?
Why not a moral obligation, Lakhshya? Why not?
Two things, okay? On how my view would be. One, in a more personal space, I will concede to you that animal suffering is immoral, wrong, cruel, all of them.
On which tier we never decided though?
I mean, the thing is cruel. It's like
on that tier, to the level of what we do to humans, something as bad as...
No. Humans, animals is different for me still.
You would never still put them in the same category?
No. Humans and animals I would never put in the same
Even
category.
though they both suffer and feel pain and fear just as much. Like, Arvind never feels more pain or fear than Lakhshya. Okay, we are human, we're the same species.
I'm more likely to be empathetic towards
You can be
animals.
empathetic.
I'm a speciesist, if you would like to.
Yeah, you are. I know that. I'm not saying that you are speciesist. But my point is that I'm just saying that do you by any chance perceive that animals suffer less than us?
I don't know.
Okay, let me tell you factually. All vertebrate animals, which is the spinal column, and then they have a central nervous system and a brain, they suffer. They're capable biologically of suffering just as much as you and me can. If I were to keep a hot rod on your hand...
Maybe I'm hypocritical. I have my cat at home. And if anything happens to my cat, I'll be the worst person. I'll like kill them or something, probably. And in that situation, I wouldn't say it's a human or not.
But
I'll probably...
That's your companion animal. That's your friend. So that's a difference there.
Exactly.
That's a difference there.
But in that situation, I'm able to empathize with it. I'll tell you, when I was younger, my mom got me a small chicken, and we grew it. And I had all the love in the world for it. And usko, if anyone tried to kill it or something, I'll be like a very bad person to them. But then in the same household, we were also consuming meat, like chicken.
Yeah.
So it never clicked to us.
Does it click now?
I mean, I understand that, suffering is bad and all, but I'm not able to empathize with the animals the same way.
That's fine. We can use your logical thinking.
See, the thing is, animal suffering is bad, should be reduced, should be minimized. Ideally should be abolished.
I disagree, but I think should be abolished because...
Ideally should be abolished. Ideally being the keyword.
This is your opinion. I won't intervene. Yeah.
That being the case, in a larger sort of advocacy kind of a way, like the government removing boiled egg from the midday meal. In a country like India, where the protein consumption is like the lowest, and for government schools, colleges, where what protein do they give you? Nothing, right? And I agree with you that if me personally, I would probably go home next time and be like, I'll buy soya instead of this. But in terms of policy, I would be like, if malnutrition is there, we have midday meals, the easiest way to give protein would be an egg. And when the government...
this is just as but it's almost on the tier of bioavailability.
But if you work out the logistics of providing this at every midday meal, I don't have a problem. Protein intake should be increased.
Then shouldn't it be necessary that we say, instead of eggs, government, please do give soy chunks? Because I understand those children also need the nourishment. I'm not here to, as I told you, which is why privileged class...
Mine is very contextual, this. Okay. If your argument was, we are giving eggs, instead of that, you should give this, absolutely there with you. But right now, what the government did, they removed the egg entirely. Because
that's stupid. That's stupid.
They don't give any replacement.
No.
In that situation, keep the egg. In that situation, I would say keep the egg.
Yeah, I'm going to say, please remove the egg and instead give this.
Sure. I mean, I don't have any issue with that.
But I guess, again, if I can just come on this, because we'll probably have to wrap up in another, 5-10 minutes. The point I want to mention is that when you do say you cannot put it on the same tier as human cruelty, what's happening to animals, even though they suffer just like us, they want to live just like us. Can you just understand why you can't? Why you say that?
See, for example, I'll tell you the whole Gaza thing. Before the Gaza thing started, I had a couple of friends there. Like there was one guy who was taking gym coaching from me and all. I used to help him out. He didn't understand English, but we were talking some way. When he died, he was like me, man. He used to go to the gym. He's a human. He has feelings. He had goals. He had ambitions.
Agreed.
I felt personal level, feel bad. Because they're humans, right?
Yes.
Humans have dreams, have goals in this. Animals, of course, they feel suffering and all, but then they are not of the same intelligence, or I would say capacity.
If I make the argument that suppose your friend in Gaza he still was your friend, but he wasn't a gym bro, but he was someone who was mentally handicapped, would that make his loss any less?
He's still a human, right?
So that means then please don't give the argument about intelligence. Say he's human. You said when you give an argument about intelligence, I will have to ask what if the human is less intelligent or handicapped mentally.
Say for example, it comes back to say for instance. Say a baby died, okay? Now here what we do in terms of convenience, we say, abortion happening and the parent makes it, we look at it as fine. Because again, the baby which is not born, since it's in the tummy, hasn't developed consciousness, we don't treat it as, it's murder, right?
I would agree up until the point only where the baby is not sentient. If the baby has developed sentience, I think aborting it would amount to murder. It's if the baby, we know, I don't know how many weeks that is till they develop the brain and start.
I don't know
if you do it before that, I'm completely on board. I'm completely on board of that. Yeah. In that context, and also if a woman has been or something, then I'm fully on side.
Yeah. So I think it's more contextual like that. See, where I from a moral and philosophical standpoint, I concede on the vegan front. My primary issue is with the vegan movement in India, and the thing is, it's not just India. Even in the West, it's all privileged white people. I don't see black people, indigenous people caring about veganism. Barely any indigenous voices in the space. Same with veganism in India. So in everywhere in the world where the movement is manifesting, it's manifesting how?
By the
most
privileged
people.
Folks. Yeah.
That makes me very skeptical of the movement itself.
Why does that make you can be skeptical of the movement, but that did not make you justify the actions that you and others do to animals, though? I am asking about accountability from your side, right? Yeah. You have the right to critique our movement, and maybe your critiques on it are fair, okay? Which is why, if you notice, I'm not actually arguing with you on majority of the critiques you give, because you seem to be spitting facts. I'm not arguing with you on those things.
See, again, the moral, philosophical side, I concede to you, this is wrong. We should prefer this over this, and ideally...
Prefer versus obligation. When we realize they can suffer just like us, feel pain just like us, that they love their children just like us, when they have right to their bodily integrity, just like us, Lakhshya. It's not like it hurts only for me. Like even if someone puts a needle, it hurts. Dude, a knife in their throat when it's not necessary. And you have the option, and you're saying it's not an obligation to not be violent to animals. I find that to be insane in my eyes. It's insane. It's
I think that is where we would fundamentally disagree, because I would prioritize this over that. Because
you can still you can be a vegan and still prioritize it, Lakhshya. You can be a vegan and prioritize humans all you want.
The whole thing is the whole obligation part, okay? Because see, thing is, if we logically go by that, everyone should be a vegan tomorrow, otherwise they're like a very evil person.
If you have the money and the capacity to become a vegan,
I mean, honestly speaking, at least in our space, if someone is able to understand my content and speaks English, probably everyone has the means.
$120 a day? Yes, they should go. If they're not going, they are doing a very immoral act. Yes, that's
exactly. But I wouldn't take that leap. I would say, look, it is preferable, advisable, probably a good thing. But I wouldn't take the moral obligation thing and saying...
Which means you're saying exploiting animals is not wrong. Because if something is wrong, you would say it's wrong to do.
Again, see, that's where we live in a society. There's context, nuance, there's a lot of things which go into it.
Yeah, but where is that nuance necessary here? You can choose to stop. Stop. It's unnecessary violence towards animals. You can choose to stop. Stop. It's a clear path. And again, when you keep saying to me that you cannot, you choose to prioritize human life, I have never asked you not to. Not once did I tell you not to. I never once told you to speak out for veganism, speak up for animals, support my work. None of that.
See,
all I say is be accountable for your actions. Every time I'm asking you to be accountable, you are finding out mistakes in the vegan movement, which happen to be based on facts. Again, I'm not disagreeing with you. You're spitting facts completely. But the accountability from your side, if I can be honest, Lakhshya, is on this is zero. I don't know why you seem to be diverting the topic when I ask you to be accountable. And to me, that is just unfortunate. And I wish people would be accountable for their actions.
Two things, okay? This comes out to me the same way where the whole Gaza thing happened, right? Like you're drinking Coke, you're supporting genocide. I look at this the same way. I'm not disagreeing with you. Probably I should look into my dietary choices. Apart from dietary, I don't think I consume any
leather, wool, silk.
Silk, guys don't wear.
Do you go to the zoo or circus? Do you buy pets from breeders?
I have a cat.
Is it okay? You adopted? Don't adopt animals. Please do not buy them. Animals are not commodities. Then
see, when I say I don't do, say for example, people who buy, especially I want a Persian cat, this cat. I don't do that species bullshit. I'm like, cat is cat. Even the dog I had was indie.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if it's an expensive breeder. Breeders, you saw breeding.
No, breed is coming from breeding, right? Adoption is adoption.
Yeah. Any street animal, anyone whom you can house them. If you can. If you're not, again, look at this. Have you seen my video where I told this? Even saving animals is optional. Not harming animals is obligatory. I, in one video, made a statement saying that if I were in a position, have you seen that cat video where someone asked me, would you save a cat because if you save the cat, you'll have to feed it meat? And I told them, if I were in a position where I had to make the call if a cat lives or dies, because when I rescue them, I have to feed them meat, I would leave the cat to die. I would not rescue the cat.
But I think cats eat soya or something, right? Because
no, cats are obligate carnivores. But dogs can eat
the thing is, a friend of mine was telling me the cat food you're getting these days, it smells like salmon and all. But nowadays they have soya.
They have vegan cat food. It's there. If you can afford that.
Vegan. I think most of it is coming from
soya. No. They don't have animal products. But my point is even this. Even when it comes to animals, note how I'm being consistent in my point. Don't save animals, people. Don't save animals. First, stop harming them. In no other scenario would we ever let this slide. We first be accountable for the unnecessary violence that we do. We stop that and then see if we can, if we want to, we help. Helping is optional. Not harming is obligatory.
If I find a stray cat suffering in the road or something, even if I might not keep it in my house forever, I would rescue it and probably try to find someone to keep it or something. See, some things.
But you wouldn't keep going vegan as a high priority on your list, though.
I wouldn't say it's obligatory. I think.
See? This is the sad part. This is the sad reality of the world.
For me personally, I would say that saving the cat I'd be more inclined to say that is obligatory. How can you see someone suffering and not help?
How can you pay for someone to have a knife stabbed in the throat, Lakhshya?
See, again,
you don't need to.
Social.
I'm not being mean. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. I'm sorry. I'm just emotional.
The social context here is the same as I told you, right? The Gaza this thinking thing. But is it preferable to consume less meat? I'd say yes. Probably, hopefully, someday lab-produced meat, we don't have to harm animals?
We have the vegan options right now: soy chunks, tofu.
See, I'm not telling you what I eat in a day.
I know. But I'm just saying you can obviously. Like I have a video out there, it's 90 minutes long. It's called the Ultimate Guide.
I'll probably have a look.
It's called the Ultimate Guide to Veganism in India, where it literally goes into nutrition, options, pricing, everything, like anything, any nutrient you can possibly imagine in the most sustainable, easy, simple way. Like they say, vegans have to take supplements. Yes, we do, and vitamin D and B12. You know how much it costs? It costs us 8
I
rupees
think
a day.
non-vegetarians take vegan supplement.
Yeah, but it costs us 8 rupees a day. 8 rupees a day, and say, "No, veganism is expensive." So here's my point.
See, I don't.
You
buy
don't.
that.
You don't say that. I'm not saying you did. Some people are speaking down to the camera. But the point is this, Lakshya. Before we wind up,
See, okay, one more thing.
Yeah,
okay.
go on, please.
Things, when you talk about culture, culture is not simply based on the economic feasibility. Certain things could be cheaper, but the social perception of that is that it is something which, the bougie, sober people do. Veganism also has that branding.
Unfortunately, it does. You're right. It does. Yeah.
Though it is economically affordable, the branding which goes behind it, because typically the vegans happen to be bougie people.
You mean bourgeois people, right? French
that's
bourgeois.
the
Bourgeois.
Bougie is basically Gen Z version of saying
Really?
bourgeois.
I did not know that. Okay.
These bougie, South Bombay, Bandra,
All right. Okay.
like you have like so much this in life that now you're talking about that. Again, see, the thing is, the way veganism is packaged and presented to us, it comes out like that. But a lot of points, I think the moral, ethical points which you raised, I'm conceding, because on a lot of other points you have also conceded, which makes your argumentation very fair.
I mean, the point that I'm privileged and I can. That point, you mean which one?
Not really that, because acknowledging the only point I vociferously disagree
I know.
is that you have a platform and you don't talk about other issues, which I find problematic, because if you have, do talk about them. Because you preferably would be in a lot to gain.
The option not to pay people to stab animals. You can.
And also advocate for other people to not do that, right?
That is your choice whether you want to, but you should not be an exploiter yourself,
See,
Lakshya.
I would
Accountability
rather-
for actions, accountability.
I would rather have 100 people become vegetarian from your, if I go by your logical thing, 100 people be vegetarian than 1 people be vegan. Because the end of the day, 100 people being vegetarian gonna save a lot more animals than 1 people being
It's
vegan.
not about just saving animals. It's about creating
I
a
think
new
that's
society.
a moral, philosophical.
We cannot have a revolution if our basic values are so flimsy.
Okay,
That I bend for every request.
See, I think look, even if we both agree on the same logical underpinnings, in morality there are one opposing theories. One is utilitarianism.
Yeah.
If you can kill 10 people to save 100 people, you do that, and you would be a deontologist who would say killing itself is bad, we will not kill anyone, therefore I think that is the fundamental distinction.
Yeah, and that is one distinction you can say. I would say I'm a mix of both depending on the scenario. Honestly.
Which scenario you would support the killing of 10 people to save 100 people?
Let's say, for example, tomorrow there is a way by killing just 100 animals, we're somehow able to manufacture enough through our technology of this lab culture and stuff, we're able to manufacture something or we can feed the entire world instead
How
of it
is
being
that different from
instead of being 100 billion. Even though it is so immoral and so wrong, I probably would let it happen and then fight against it while it's happening instead of allowing the current thing to go on, because 100 billion versus 100 billion animals right now being
with
taught.
animals you're fine doing that.
Yeah, that's what I said right now. Or even other, like, what are the scenario you're giving me right now?
Here, as I right now put it, that would you rather have 100 people turning vegetarian than 1 people turn vegan?
No, because that does not solve the issue, and that is
It
not.
reduces the harm, right?
Yeah, but what's happening? It does reduce the harm, but then let's compare. That reduces the harm and also puts a halo over their head. It
See,
puts
the
a
halo is not part of the equation which I'm giving you.
But do you know?
Do you think that
but
one
as
vegan
an activist who's
See,
facing hundreds of
okay,
people, you know how will say, I'm already vegetarian. I'm already doing enough. I spoke up for dogs. I wear vegan shoes.
See.
You know how difficult they are harder to convince than the actual non-vegans who are ignorant.
But
Do you realize that?
And do you also realize that the vegan who now has a halo over their head, you tell him, bro, care about caste and all, he'll be like, no, I'm already caring about animals. Why should I care about women and caste in Gaza?
But that is not what I said, right?
The halo effect, the halo thing here, again, it's immaterial.
Did I say because I care about animals, therefore me not caring about that becomes all right? I am making
No, but here also, just because someone became vegetarian doesn't necessarily mean that they all will never change ever. Probably for them being step one would be vegetarian.
There are thousands of people who have seen my videos and become vegetarian.
No, again, here we are having a philosophical argument. You are bringing in your advocacy practicality thing. We are not talking about a practical sense. We are talking about more philosophical sense.
Okay.
In a philosophical sense, you would rather pick 100 people be vegetarian than pick 1 people be vegan. Otherwise, you would be logically inconsistent.
In a philosophical sense, yeah, that would be better. Yes, in a philosophical sense, yes. But that is not how I apply my activism. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm pointing
That's the
out.
thing. So I guess I'll just give my final statements. You give yours, and there's no need to maybe go beyond that. I guess because I guess what I want to say to the audience is that I fundamentally disagree with Lakhshya on several things, and I also don't want to seem too accusatory. But I do want to say that the problem I see with you, I feel, is that you are not willing to be accountable for your actions, and every time I do ask you to be accountable, you are bringing up the problems within our own movement, which you are factually doing. So let me finish. It's my final statement. After that, you're done, and then it's over. So, which you are factually, and you have the right to do so. You can bring up the issues you see within the vegan movement, but none of those issues justify you yourself or anybody watching this to continue not being a vegan themselves. Because guess what? Maybe you met a few vegans who are assholes. Maybe you even think this guy Arvind is an asshole. You know what? Please have that opinion. I'm not saying you to change that. Because veganism has nothing to do with me. At the end of the day, I am just a speaker. I'm alive here today. In another 50 years, people won't even remember who I am. I mean nothing. But values matter. Ethics matter. And we as human beings have to have a good moral and ethical code. And what we are doing towards animals right now is nothing, in the way I can say it, it's pure evil. And nothing justifies it, and we have to work towards creating a world that can eliminate it completely. And if you are privileged enough to have 100 or 120 rupees a day, you can be a part of this movement by merely choosing to change what's on your plate and what you wear by being a vegan. Please be accountable for your actions. That's all I can say. Now I leave it to you completely, bro.
Yeah. So I feel I'll start off by saying whatever is happening with certain communities in India is purely evil. What is happening to women in India is purely evil. What is happening to people in Gaza is purely evil. And someone who cares about evil and who refuses to talk about these issues, I think they are not making full use of their responsibility. And I think someone who has a voice, who cares about oppression, and they don't talk about these issues actively while having the opportunities every day to do so, I think that in a way makes a lot of people look into their activism more questionably, skeptically. That's number one. And number two, the whole philosophically, a lot of points I concede. I don't think we should be treating animals that way. I think more people should be vegan. But again, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's obligatory, because people come from certain cultural this upbringing. And see, the last part is, if someone is a vegan and they care about oppression, I think it is imperative for them to also care about humans and also actively advocate for other forms of oppression. And if you don't care about those things and you only care about vegan and therefore are better than them, I think that makes the whole vegan movement look bad. I think after this conversation, I'm more empathetic towards your whole thing. But again, the preliminary problem I find, why is it upper caste dominated? If it's about empathy, the people actually suffering would be open to having that empathy. And even when you reach out to people from oppressed backgrounds, you cannot, coming from an upper caste background, have that tone. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're an upper caste or a Brahmin community person, you care about animals, great. But when you're talking to someone from a Dalit background or a Muslim background and you want to make them vegan or want to convince them that animal suffering is bad, you cannot have that tone of saying, hey, look, your activism is like this, you're like a bad person, stuff like that. I think that if you do that thing, you as vegans, I think that will hurt you in the long run than help you. I get that you are absolutist, abolitionist, which is fair, but in terms of advocacy, especially if you're dealing with, the way you deal with your own fellow upper caste people could be very different. The way you advocate the same and you package the same to marginalized communities, I don't think that will reach to them if you talk in that tone, considering where you're coming from in societal context. I think that's what I would say to you. And then I'm open to looking at the 90-minute video you made. I'm open to it. I'm not saying I'll never be a vegan or something. I'm very much open to it. And I'm not that silly kind of person who will say that, oh, just because I'm a not vegan, I'm a Sigma or some bullshit like that. I think it's this. But again, at the end of the day, I'd still come back to this. Morality, philosophically, I concede to you. But as a person, I would say diet in a lot of instances is a personal choice in a country where a large section of the community, they are shamed, looked down on, treated as inferior for their dietary habits. In country, large part of, Dalits, Delhi and Muslims are lynched not for consuming meat, but for the suspicion that they are carrying meat. In that societal context, when activists coming from this background are shamed by certain vegan upper caste activists that, you know what, you consume meat, you're like that, I think that it's a socially, contextually blind kind of an approach. I think once you acknowledge these things that, hey, look, even if you're a vegan and you say, hey, look, this man shouldn't have been lynched just because he's carrying meat. I don't eat meat. That's fine. And I don't want him to eat meat, but this is not the way it should be done. And I think a lot of people will open their eyes towards vegans if that happens to be the case. I think that's a very fruitful conversation apart from that.
Yeah. And I think it's best, although I do want to comment on just two things you said. It's not as a response, but just to like give my take on it. Do you think it's necessary or not necessary? Like,
it's fine. You can go on.
Just very shortly. So about you first commenting that the vast majority of us do come from an upper caste privileged background, that is something, a pattern even I notice. And in the West, it's all white privileged. Yeah. And I have a theory for why it is so in India like this at least. It's because veganism is a Western concept. Although we can say that ahimsa and all these kind of ideologies came from here, veganism is a Western concept. And those of us from a privileged background have gone to like international schools, we have gone to well-educated schools, and we speak fluent English. And the kind of content that we consume on the internet is English-based, which is why we have been exposed to these kind of videos and these kind of, like I have seen similar debates happening in other foreign countries. So obviously, so that's why my exposure towards that is higher. So probably the rate at why the privileged class.
My counter would be that Indian upper caste are consuming that American content, Western content, and become vegans. But the blacks living in America who are of the same society, speak the same language, they are not converting.
We do have...
Because what I feel is that if you are from a certain background and you see your own community people suffering actively, then you're likely to take the thing which is proximate to you.
Right? That's true. That's true.
But when your community, probably you guys don't face anything directly, so you feel, okay, I need to pick up some other social cause for myself, and you pick up the animal cause.
I don't know if I picked it up for myself, but from an emotional perspective, really
in
did
India
feel
and abroad, what I've seen is the environmentalist spaces, vegan spaces, typically this crowd comes. And even Dr. Ambedkar had a very similar critique of the communist movement in India. Communists are like, we'll free the workers, we'll end capitalism, this, that, and it's all Brahmin boys.
Yeah.
The workers primarily happen to be from OBC, SC, ST communities. They are not represented in the Communist Party. It's all, Western educated.
The phenomenon you point out is true. I cannot put a finger on as to why it's there. But I agree. I don't know. I think about this as well. I do not know. I hope we can soon look. I welcome everybody, man. Like, if you are a human being, we're all the same. I don't see any differences. That is what And last thing, if I can just comment on this, is obviously when it comes to lynching and stuff, that has nothing to do with veganism. That is a completely different political and religious ideology. This is a philosophy on animal rights. And no, I do not support vigilantism. I just want to make
one more thing. I've seen this new trend, okay? Sanatani feminism, spiritual, yogic veganism, and all this. They're all... Basically, they have the caste mindset, they have that whole Hindutva mindset, but they're all packaged in this, yoga, karmic, dharmic, this, and there's a large overlap of veganism there also. And their superiority is, we don't kill animals, we are better, and then they do.
I completely, you're right. Again, that's why the whole point is I cannot control anybody but myself.
If the vegan thing, it's fundamentally about anti-oppression, the overlap should be with the leftist and the anti-caste and the Muslim spaces. But your overlap is going with the Hindutva right.
Not mine personally, but the vegan message in this country, I will agree that a lot of it does overlap.
The only vegan politician in the public sphere is Menaka Gandhi, who's a BJP MP, ex-BJP MP. She's not right now, but
So that is happening. But I, from my side, can make sure I get the message out in the right way, in a in a proper manner, instead of packaging it like that. And I try not to. So I want to say, Lakhshya, thank you so much. You want to say something?
So if you are talking to people, if your audience is some lower caste background or something like that, you will first have to make them realize that, look, I understand your pain. I see where you're coming from, and then you tell them, and they're very...
I don't even know if I have the right to say it to them, because I don't know the kind of suffering that I can read about the suffering, but they live the suffering.
Yeah, educate yourself on that, and then communicate to them in a way that, look, I get you guys. I understand, and they're very likely to be more empathetic and open to your message, right?
I understand.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lakhshya. I really value, great convo. Thank you.